Alrighty, guys. How we going? Welcome very much. Welcome very much. Wow. English is hard. Welcome to the Freshly Awoken podcast. What number are we at now? Actually, what is this number? 5?
6, 5, 5. I think we're 5. Let's go with 5.
Well, welcome anyway. So we're gonna jump straight into the guests that we've got. So we've got old mate Fray. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, I'm Fray. I'm lurking in Fresh's chat pretty often. You probably recognise me. I'm a primary school teacher. I'm currently single and available.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. Happy to hang out with some cute boys.
And Fray's got
That's the main reason you're here.
Yeah,
he's got a slightly
gentleman.
different logo as well, Fray. What's that logo next to your name?
Mixer. You can find me at mixer.com/FrayFray52. I stream about once every 6 months. So yeah, hit me with that follow.
Nice. We've also got Law here. Law's a streams every now and then, but do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Law?
I am a chicken catcher as a full-time job. I have a carpentry apprentice, and I'm a competitive Fortnite player. I'm pretty boring, so but yeah.
And he's
So
super
boring.
buff, obviously.
Oh, super
No.
buff.
Huge.
He's going to be our sneaky boy today with no cam, but that's totally all right. And we've also got Fly here as well. Fly, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, so I'm here because, I love my beer, but I work a lot as doing field work, doing conservation and environmental protection. My family, both my parents are biologists and botanists, so really happy to be here.
Good stuff.
Nice. And as always, I'm Mr. Woke. So you can catch me at Mr. Woke TV. I stream several times a week, not quite full time, but almost. And I'm. This is a topic. Wait, we haven't introduced the topic yet.
No,
but
yeah.
And we've also got Fresh Plays Live. Fresh.
Yeah,
is,
and I'm Fresh
staple.
Plays Live.
Nice.
Good, but I'm going to introduce the most exciting part of the podcast, the part that everyone's waiting for, the beer review.
Wait.
Beer review.
Yeah, nice.
We did it.
Good. Nailed it.
All right, you want to go
Get
first?
your
What's your
beers
beer?
out.
What's your beer? Get your beers out, boys.
Yeah,
Except for
yeah,
Lawless,
so,
we don't condone underage drinking, so Lawless is not drinking any beers. See his
Milo.
picture there.
A
He's not
Coca-Cola.
drinking. You don't get to look like that if you drink beer.
So, all right. So I'm actually going the same beer as last week. I don't know if any of you guys were tuned in last week, but I've got the other side is the brand, and the beer name is called Anthem. So it's other side Anthem, and it's a IPA. So it's the same beer that I had last week. I don't know if you tuned in last week, but I was like pretty hungover, and I didn't enjoy the beer, but I don't think it was the beer's fault. So I'm going this one again. So I'm pretty excited to give it a proper go this time. Yeah. Who's next?
Big Fray, come on, let's do.
We got the Cricketer's Pale Ale. As you can see, it's the nice colour with that light coming
Ooh,
through.
nice.
It's brewed in Melbourne with the signature Amarillo hops, revealing complex yet subtle tropical flavours.
Oh, tropics.
Fly, how about you, mate?
So I'm drinking something called the Juicy Enigma.
Oh,
Oh, I like
you're a
that.
bit of a
What a
juicy
name.
enigma there, Fly.
I know, I really am. Unfiltered in pale ale, and it is delicious.
Nice. Very nice.
And not Lawless, definitely no underage drinking here. I
Definitely
once
not.
again, stupidly enough, went a green beer. I always forget when I'm buying them,
Why
and then
do
I'm
you
like,
always go
oh my
green
gosh, it's
beers?
an invisible beer again. But
My goodness.
I like one of the best things to have come out of this podcast was one time I reviewed the Sierra Nevada IPA, the hazy little thing, and that is like one of my favorite beers now of all time. So I went with the
still
Sierra
haven't given it a
Nevada
go.
Pale Ale. Yeah, so got to go with the same branch, you know.
Nice. So Sierra Nevada again.
Sierra Nevada again, but it's a Pale Ale.
Sure. It's
All right,
gonna
we're
be
gonna
all
crack them.
fresh.
All right, 3,
We're gonna crack them.
2.
All of us are gonna crack except
One.
for Lawless.
Crack. Oh man, this is a hard one.
Oh, that was
there we go.
actually really hard to crack that.
Yeah, mine was real hard.
You guys actually all missed it just off stream a second ago. Fly cracked his beer, and it went everywhere.
Fly's had
Toss
like
me to
4
the
already.
wolves, why don't you?
We were like, quick, go live.
Wait, before I get
Content,
singled out
content.
as the alcohol here, Fray has multiple beers.
Is that
Why am I getting dubbed in?
true?
I mean,
Oh, no.
I did just get back.
I don't
from
want to be
a
the
footy
only
game.
one.
I just got back from a footy game, so you know, I had 1 or 2.
And Fray has school tomorrow. Come on, Fray.
Goodness.
All right. Anyway, to introduce the topic,
School
this is
night.
a little bit of a topical topic, a hot topic at the moment because of all the I don't know if we're allowed to say people's name, but anyway, there was like some streamers that were like doing mean stuff to animals, right? So the topic is animal rights
Yeet.
for tonight. Animal rights.
Oh,
And I wanted to start it off with just a question. We'll try and get a bit of talk flowing. But the first question is: do we have a moral responsibility to care for the rights of animals at all?
Okay, cool. Well, I think that I don't know. It's such a hard question. I like obviously there's the animals that everybody cares about, and then there's the animals that are like removed from society in some way, like farming and farm
Domestic,
animals.
non-domestic. You could.
Yeah,
say that.
I mean
Domestic.
domestic and non-domestic,
Well
but
done,
not
Lol.
necessarily
That's true.
because cows. I would say that cows are domesticated nowadays.
No,
Okay.
you can't domesticate a cow. You can't teach a cow to like, go to the toilet in a certain spot, do this in a certain spot. It won't
Yeah,
work.
okay. But it's like they're more
You understand what
domesticated.
he's saying, though.
They're more domesticated than like wild animals, right?
I guess. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
like there's some sort of level of domestication to them. So I
Mm.
don't know if that's necessarily the right way to like make the distinction. But in terms of like, yeah, like there's those animals that we farm and stuff that are so removed from our society that like we don't have a lot to do with them. And I think that heaps of people think like apply their morals to dogs and cats and things that we have as pets regularly and are around our cities, and then they don't apply those morals to animals that they can't see or are not around them all the time.
Mm. Are you saying that animals like cows and that are domesticated around the city often animals?
Sorry, say again. Am I saying that they're
Because you were
not?
saying that their cows are like domesticated. Are they in the same as the dogs and cats category?
Like I personally don't think so, but I do think that they're more domesticated than a wild animal, and therefore we need to apply more of them. We need to have more of a moral responsibility towards those animals because we are responsible for their livelihood. Whereas like with a wild animal, like I don't know, wild kangaroos, for example, we're not directly responsible for their livelihoods.
Mm.
Therefore, like we're not taking care of their feeding, their like, I don't know, their healthcare, So I think if we are any animal that we have under our control in some way, we have to be holding ourselves to a higher standard in terms of their care. And
Although, in saying that, things like kangaroos, we say like farmland is their habitat. So grass fields, plains, a lot of the farmland we have is their habitat. Fences up, we shoot them, we poison them, things like that. Are you saying we're not responsible then because we?
Yeah,
what about
I-
what about the
Very much.
Australiana aspect where people come to Australia to see kangaroos? If we're not treating them properly and we get a reputation for that, do you think that'd affect us on a global scale?
Okay, I'm not saying that like it's okay for us to mistreat I know, like I see where like good point, but I'm not saying that it's okay for us to mistreat those animals, but I'm saying that as
Directly under our care.
yeah, as animals become more and more under our care. For example, like dogs and cats are like so quite reliant upon humans, the human interaction in terms of like feeding and stuff like that. That they live in our houses, so we have like a huge moral responsibility to make sure that they're treated correctly, to make sure that we're not abusing them in any kind of way. And then it kind of like staggers down. So cows, they're like semi-wild, semi-domesticated. But if we've got them in farms, then we have some sort of moral responsibility to make sure that they're treated with care, and that they have good lives. I don't know. That's just like kind of my take on it. Whereas,
In response to that work,
like, yeah, you'll just wait, and then you've got like full wild animals that have like humans do nothing with, that we don't have as much moral responsibility over. I'm not saying that it's okay for like you to like boot a kangaroo in the
I get what you're
face or
saying.
something.
We have
but,
different controls
but
over
like, yeah, that's kind of like my take on it.
there's been studies done that animals such as cats and dogs would actually survive better without humans. as a species, other than dogs that have been bred, such as Chihuahuas. But the whole pack mentality of dogs, they would actually survive far better than other species without humans on the earth. They'd be one of the longest surviving animals.
Without humans,
Yeah,
like
so if
domesticating them?
humans disappeared today,
Okay.
dogs would be one of the most thriving species, assuming they could get out of the house. They would do very, very well for themselves.
Well, for the last, besides like the last century, dogs have been hunting animals. We've been using them to hunt.
And I wouldn't think that we'd want to kill all the humans as well. So it would. They might do better without us, but I'm more in favor of us staying around.
There's some animals that can't be
at least during my lifetime.
Like ferrets and stuff. They're used for like rabbit hunting and snake hunting. They put them into holes, but you can't have a ferret as a pet. It's illegal to own one, but you can have it if you have a hunting license. So
right.
Is that just in Australia?
I'm pretty sure the only state they're legal in is New South Wales to own as a pet. You don't want a ferret as a pet. They're pretty disgusting animals.
It's like a rat.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah. So then it becomes like, I don't know. So lots of people, they try to like, I don't know. They try to say that the animals are like, we should be treating animals on the same level as like ourselves as humans, and I definitely don't agree with that. I think that everything on this planet has like some sort of pecking order to the food system and the way that we what do you call that, like the something chain,
the food chain, the hierarchy,
food chain. Yeah, like the food chain and the hierarchy of like wild animals. And I don't think that to take something that we eat and can eat and go, all right, we're going to start treating this as like equal to us in terms of like making sure that they're completely looked after, they have the same feelings and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know why. I just can't get on board with that idea. I don't agree.
All right, that's cool. Let's explore that. So I also have similar, I guess, up until recently. So in doing like research for this topic, I actually have become a vegetarian. It's pretty ridiculous because I never ever thought that I would ever go like that. But so for like the last week, I've been vegetarian, except for my wife cooked a couple of meals like last weekend. I didn't want to just like throw them out. I'd be in more trouble then. So I ate them and they had meat in them. But for a week now, I've been a veggie. And the reason for this, and it sounds like I make it sound like I was almost a bit colder before with so. Before I would have said like I didn't understand how people would be like up in arms about like the people abusing animals on stream and that kind of thing if you were still participating in consuming the agriculture in the way that like our modern agriculture deals with animals and that kind of thing. So it seemed like really morally inconsistent of me to be like, okay, well, if I wouldn't walk down the street and beat a dog and be okay with that, or be okay with someone doing that, then I shouldn't be allowing animals to be treated in this way. So, but I'm really, really open to being talked out of that because I don't really want to be a vegetarian. It means that a lot of really nice foods I can't eat, but I feel like I have to, and I can also put it out of my mind like pretty easily if I wanted to, but I kind of feel like to be in any way, I suppose, morally inconsistent and like hypocritical are kind of two words that are a bit synonymous, and I wouldn't want to be either one of those.
Yeah, okay. Well, I kind of like I've obviously thought about the same thing, and I have quite a lot of like vegan and vegetarian friends, all of which at some point or another have tried to like talk me out of eating meat, or not talk me out of eating meat, but like I've encouraged them to like come at me with their best shot, basically. Like give me your argument, like I'm down. If you can convince me, like I love meat, but like if you can convince me, like I'll go vegan or vegetarian or whatever. And they always come with that, like, well, like, would you, like, are you okay with like a dog being treated like that? And I was like, to be honest, and I'm not talking abuse here, all right? I'm not, because I'm never down with that. Okay, I'm not talking like you what did you say, like punching or kicking a dog, right?
Yeah.
But I'm talking like killing for food. If it got to a point in society where, like, I don't know, we went backwards and we didn't have food to eat, I would be okay with killing a dog for meat and eating it. You know,
That sounds so ridiculous to hear.
I know it's ridiculous to hear, and it's
but, like,
horrible to think about because dogs are super cute. But like, if a push came to shove and it was like this dog all my life, like I need to eat, and there's this dog here, I would kill the dog and eat
So
it.
if it's that dog or a plant-based diet, and those are your only two options, would you rather eat the dog or would you go to a plant-based diet?
I would probably go to a plant-based diet.
So that's your moral compass. That's where you draw the line, and everyone has their own positioning along the line of, you know, domesticated animals to pests. Everyone falls somewhere along that spectrum. So that's your personal point. Yeah,
that's my personal point. But like and like I said, I don't think that if we were at the point in society where I was eating dogs, that I don't think that a plant-based diet would be a viable option in that time. Personally, I feel, you know, and I don't know. Yeah. And I'm not talking about abuse, because like everybody always like, oh, look at, like, are you okay with like a dog being treated like that? And I'm like, treated like what? You know, like killed humanely to be eaten.
But it's so like it was because of doing this research. So I'm totally fine with killing. I think animals are a subclass compared to humans. Like their lives, if they were born and they died straight away, I'd be completely okay with that. And as long as it's like freaking painless. But the research that I did was what really changed my mind, because the way that they're treated is pretty terrible. And then I was like, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll research where I can find some ethical meat in Western Australia, and there's like a very small amount of farms, and even, I don't know, maybe Law can speak a bit into it as well. Like a lot of these ones that are like RSPCA approved are still like pretty dodge.
Some of them, but so some of the farms we go to, depends how old the farm is. Some of the manure farms, they have like more fans. They'll have multiple perches, not just one perch down the middle like they showed in the Dominion. So the chickens, though, however, if we're in an older shed with one perch, they'll kill each other just by getting on top of each other, and they'll like split each other in half and everything, just from how sharp their claws are. And they try to get on top of each other to, like, I don't know, and keeping warm as well. When we go out to farms at like 2 a.m. in winter, it's like minus 10 degrees when we're in Warwick. So the chickens are freezing trying to stay warm. They kill each other by doing that. And we have like 100 dead birds every shed to smother in. Stuff like that.
Jesus.
And I go around and pick them up.
And they just get like generally, they're bred for like their meat, obviously, because
they're bred
it's part of,
so
like,
they have large breasts and stuff. If they fall onto their back, for example, they can't get up within like 15 minutes. They'll die from suffocation because their like chest is too big for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, and like all their joints are like messed up their entire lives.
Yeah, their legs are like, some chickens have like deformed legs, so they won't
around, like
where a chicken would have, I guess you'd call a knee on a chicken. I don't know what to call it. They might not have that, or they'll have like multiple joints there, so the legs don't bend properly. They just fall over.
And is that RSPCA approved, Law, these places?
Yeah, but see, when with RSPCA approved farms, it's really uncommon. You'll see like one chicken like that, like every like 2 or 3 days.
So it's slightly better.
Yeah,
so
non-RSPCA approved farms, we've gone to like 2 of those, I think, since I've been working there, and they are nothing compared to RSPCA. They're horrible. The non-approved farms are so bad.
Yeah, and that's I don't know if you guys read, but I put it in there in my like thoughts and notes. So I'm all for the reduction of animal product consumption and increasing the welfare of animals in production farming, and I feel like there's like enough sentiment out there at the moment to be like to have like the market being pushed in the way of like better welfare in these farms. Obviously, you've got like people like the RSPCA who are like setting up things to try to improve the welfare of chickens. But there should be way more of those things. But I'm all for government regulation if that's what it takes to make farmers realize that like it's not okay to do that kind of stuff and like treat animals like that. I don't know.
But I mean, the regulations there.
That's not going to stop me. But that's not going to stop me eating like chicken. You know what I mean? Like,
if you do the job, you'll like. I don't like eat. I can't eat pieces of chicken. Like if they have bones, I can't eat it. Like I'll like be physically sick if I eat it, just because. Since I'm the one that has to pick up dead birds, I pick up like birds that are like split in half, missing heads and everything. It's not very pleasant to do.
Yeah, right.
kind of puts you off eating chicken.
Interesting.
Or any kind of bird, for example.
Have any of you guys ever killed your own meat?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've gone hunting and stuff.
Never.
Cool.
Never caught a fish. Never been fishing. Never killed
Not even a
anything.
fish?
Fishing.
Really?
No, never been fishing.
Wow. I'm
I
impressed.
don't like it. It makes me sad.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it perplexes me that people are like, oh, this person's abusing their cat or something, when like that same person will go and eat a cow that's been like we can see that they've been pretty, maybe even worse, abused. Like I'm okay, and I used to be like, whatever animals are a subclass, I don't care about abusing them at all. Doesn't matter to me if they're in pain. So I'll eat them and I'll be okay with them being abused in their slaughterhouses and whatever. But then I was like, and then I don't know if it was partly like having a dog and like thinking about it a bit more, and I was like, well, I probably wouldn't want to abuse him. I was like, I just don't know if I can be consistent and say that I would do this to my dog, but it's okay for it to be happening like where I can't see it.
Well, from like an instinctual standpoint, humans, for a tribe or a society of tribes, and you really only care about what's in your circle. That's what we've been doing for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You only care about what directly affects you.
True.
That's the same concept they used to kind of excuse racism and sexism back in the day as well, though. And that's the whole concept is the third wave. So there was racism, then now they're talking about speciesism, which is what you were talking about earlier, Woke. The belief that one species is more deserving of its place on the earth than another. It's the same way they used to speak about black people, was that they were animals and that they were second-class citizens. So, that's very militant view, and that view, but that's a belief.
I get what you mean, and someone's presented this argument to me before, and I disagree, mainly because of like the natural food chain that's out, like that exists in the wild. Like when you're talking about human versus human, that's like we are obviously we're the peak, all right? Like we have the most intelligence,
apex predator,
where we've got the most society and all of that kind of stuff. Like we've evolved and we've gone beyond every other species on this. And when you're talking about other humans interacting and killing or whatever other humans, for example, with racism and slavery and all that kind of stuff, I think that's very different to saying that here's a thing that we've eaten forever, like for a long time, saying that like, oh, actually, like it's racist, or like not racist, it's speciesist to consider them lesser beings. I don't think that's true. I think that you can definitely I don't know, I just disagree with that. I think that you can definitely rank things based on their society and stuff like that.
So again, to get your moral compass again, Woke, sorry. Hypothetically, aliens invade the Earth, they now become the apex predator. Are you okay with them being carnivore, or are you hoping that they're not going to eat humans? Like, if they now attain the premier position on the thing, are you fine being eaten?
As a human, obviously, I would hope that they were not. But if they are and they manage to kill us, then
you're cool.
That's the way the world works.
Cool. That's cool.
That's literally the way the world works, And I don't know. That's the way the world works.
That's good. Then you're morally consistent. That's good.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong.
It would suck. It would suck, and I would fight back. But if they're that much better than us, then they deserve to be on the top.
The place where I see the inconsistency, using the animal argument as well, not the animal argument, the alien situation as well, is, so let's say you have these aliens and they can see and they're eating people on Earth, and they're eating I don't know, let's say they're eating all the tall people or something, and then and they're all okay with that, and they're torturing them and they're eating them as we do, I guess, in a way, to animals. And then one of the aliens eats a smaller person, and all the other aliens are like, well, what the hell, man? Like, they're a bit cuter, and like, why are you eating like a smaller person? You're not allowed to do that. What's wrong with you?
I
feel like that's similar to what we do with certain types of animals. We're okay with
it is very
creating
similar.
pain.
I think that is a little bit different, mainly because of like the quality of meat, how it tastes. Like there's no way you can compare eating like dog meat to eating like cow meat.
But that's societal, and taste is very subjective. Like some societies eat dogs and cats, and some
they
don't
do.
eat cows.
Asian countries.
Then you don't eat cows because they're like sacred.
Yeah, Indian countries.
Hinduism.
30% of Indians are vegetarian, and cows are actually considered sacred creatures.
Yeah.
There's quite a few like cultures and stuff that won't eat pig either because pig's a dirty animal. So they're like like Jewish people as well. That for that religion they won't eat pig.
Yeah, you're right.
The animal.
Yeah, but once again, just to be morally consistent, I am okay with people
Abusing
eating
dogs.
Not abusing dogs.
But okay, so that's right. I'm
different.
also okay. I'm also okay with I'd say I'm also okay with eating dogs if they're not suffering. I'm also okay with eating cows if they're not suffering. I'm okay with anything if they're not suffering. However, because they are being really abused, that is inconsistent, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm all for a reduction in animal product consumption.
Yeah.
So like if we can reduce that, it kind of like sends a message to these farmers who are like treating animals inappropriately that like we're not okay with that. You know what I mean? And and it's kind of, and it's one of those things. It's like the industry developed because of demand. Yeah. So when you've got so many people on the planet wanting to eat meat, it's impossible. Like I read some study where it was like the amount of land that would have to be used to ethically farm like cow meat as opposed to like how they're doing it now in like feedlots and all that kind of stuff is ridiculous. Like it's unachievable on the planet. So you can't necessarily have the argument, oh okay, well like we're just going to ethically farm all meat now. You have to couple it with a reduction in like the amount of meat that you're eating or the amount of animal products that you're using to make it like sustainable. But I'm like, I still, even though I think that we should reduce the amount we're eating, and I think that animals should be treated completely ethically and there should be harsh penalties for people that don't, I'm still for eating meat.
But you'll keep consuming the ones that aren't treated ethically? Yes. It's like, look, okay,
checkmate.
You know what? You're 95% of meat eaters are exactly the same. I reckon there'd be 5% of meat eaters who would be okay with abusing animals like they are and eating them. And I feel like I was in that 5% before, and now because I'm like, wow, I'm actually not okay with not eating these ones. It's like I'm saying that you're in 95% of the population who are okay with being morally ambiguous on this topic.
I am okay with eating. I'm not okay with eating abused meat. I don't like the idea of it. However, until like my enjoyment of meat outweighs my like hatred of the fact that some of these animals get abused.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that turning point for you, Fresh, was when I got you to watch the Dominion documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I watched that Dominion documentary again. I had watched it before, like a couple of years ago, and like I was saying, Fray, I was in that area of, I actually think mainly it was probably owning pets. I was in the area of like animals, like I don't care if they feel pain, like at all. And then I totally changed my views on that. But a lot of people asking what Fly's stance is. Is he a vegan? Some people are probably just looking at him and being like, that attractive man is saying that he's probably a vegan.
I actually grew up as a vegan, so practically my entire life I was eating as a vegan.
Yeah.
Is that from your parents?
Yeah, so both my parents are like biologists and environmental scientists, so they work a lot in conservation stuff, and they have made the decision to eat as vegans. I've moved out since then, and now I only eat game meat. So I only eat meat that's hunted. Realistically, it's rabbits and kangaroo, and that's about it.
Oh, right.
That's all I eat. And I do it about twice a week. I'll eat meat.
Yeah.
I'll probably switch to being a vegan as well. I'm with Fray in saying that I just don't think the industry is ethically clean at all. Even with free range, I can't do chickens because, they say free range chickens, RCPC, but when a chicken is out in the field, it's as stressed as it is in a cage. open fields scare animals as much as a cage does, if not more. They feel constantly under threat, and it's just constant pain throughout their very short lives. And it's just I feel like it's not viable. I don't agree with it at all.
So then, what's the So what's the alternative? Because I've had this conversation before as well. Like, all right, so we're not farming anymore. All right, all of these animals are now wild animals because cows, especially, have come a long way genetically through domestication for farming practices. They're not the same animal as they were when they were wild animals. And so do we just like reintroduce them back into the ecosystem, and we've just got like wild cows running around? And like,
if you put a chicken in the wild, it's not going to survive. It's going to die within a day.
Well, I mean, you say that, but like chickens were an animal, like before
they were an animal.
They're still not very intelligent animals. They have no hunting skills.
No, they're definitely
especially
not.
The ones that are bred for meat. They can't even they can barely when they eat out of the things. They don't even. I don't know. They're so dumb. They'll have one bit, then just go back to running around. They're so dumb. Chickens are slow creatures.
Yeah, and
you're not gonna.
Yeah, sorry, you go.
You're not going to click your fingers and instantly there's going to be no meat consumption, so all of the animals are going to be homeless and they're going to have to be left. It'll be a slow reduction, and what will happen is the demand will decrease, the population will decrease, and then it'll get to the point where my next door neighbor, she has chickens in her backyard. I think she's got about 10 chickens. I love waking up to the sound of the chickens. She eats the eggs. She's offered me the eggs. I still say no thank you to the eggs. But she treats her chickens in a way with love and respect, and she's not going to kill her chickens.
Why do you say no thank you to her eggs? Is that because you just don't want to get used to eating them again?
I just don't really like the idea of the concept of eating the, unborn essence of of another animal. I don't find it. I don't like drinking milk because milk is literally the building block for a baby cow to grow into a big adult cow. Like our human body is not designed to drink breast milk of a cow. We drink human breast milk until we're weaned off it, and then we don't have a need for it again.
How many times have we said breast in this podcast so far?
So Fray, are you a vegan?
So I'm a vegetarian, and I try to live as much of a vegan lifestyle as I can. However,
it's a bit difficult.
It is a lot more difficult to be a vegan than a vegetarian. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when did that start for you?
Probably about 3 years now. My sister gave birth to my nephew. My sister's been vegan, and she decided that she could raise my nephew in a vegan lifestyle. And she said to me, if she can do that, then knowing the kind of animal lover that I was, pets my whole life, I've always loved cats, always loved dogs, always felt really bad, driving down the road and seeing farms and things like that. And she said, why don't you try it? And then she made me watch Dominion, and she made me watch Cowspiracy, and she made me watch Earthlings, and I haven't looked back.
Yeah. See, and so that's two. So you obviously watched Dominion. Fresh, you watched Dominion.
Yep.
When I was watching Dominion, and I did share this story with you guys in the chat or somewhere, I can't remember where. But when my old housemates were both vegan, and they were. Oh, sorry. One of them was vegan. One of them was like vegetarian, trying his best, and the vegan's girlfriend was also vegan, and I was home one night and they were watching Dominion, and the girlfriend was like, you're not going to like watching this. Just a heads up, feel free to make yourself scarce, but we really want to watch it. So we're going to use the TV in the lounge room. And I was like, no, don't worry about me. Like if it bothers me, I'll leave. Like I've got other things that I can do in the house. And I was watching it, and man, it was horrible. All right. I hate the idea that these animals are treated that way. And then halfway through watching it, I was like, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get myself some dinner. And I got myself Hungry Jack's. And I came back and I watched the rest of it while smashing a Hungry Jack's burger. And that's, man, it just doesn't get to me. The whole animal, like these animals are sentient kind of argument is not an argument that is I think ever going to work on me in terms of trying to get me to say no to meat. And yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why, but I love meat. I love the taste of meat so much that it outweighs that for me.
So, and that's okay. Like I said, 95% of people are that way. I was that way for many years. So let's think of a scenario. So like if you were driving and a rabbit like jumped out on the road, would you try and avoid it in your car? Or would you just be like, no? What about if it was a dog?
No.
So you just ran straight over that dog?
I've killed a dog before in my vehicle.
And were you happy about it?
Look, I didn't really feel one way or the other about it.
Okay, that's good. I think you're
I could do.
Completely morally consistent with that.
Yeah.
Then.
It's more dangerous to swerve for animals. The only thing I would potentially try to swerve for would be like something big enough to like kill me, like a kangaroo, like a big kangaroo.
What about if you saw someone beating their dog like senseless on the side of the road?
I would intervene.
Why?
Because
that doesn't make sense.
It's
because if you run over that dog's gonna be senseless in a couple of seconds. So,
yeah, no, 100%. But like, it's I don't know.
Would you stop and get out and try and help the dog, or would you?
Oh
just
yeah,
keep
no,
going?
100%. Oh, 100%.
Wait, hold on. Are we talking about the dog being beaten here?
No, the dog that he's run over.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But why? Why would you do
that? Because it's a living being.
Yeah, you're making so much more trouble than it's worth. You could just avoid it and not have to get out of your car to help it. After you've already hit it.
The difference is that if I swerve, I'm putting my life and my passenger's life and other people's life in danger.
Yeah. So let's say you could swerve without putting people's lives in danger. It might minorly inconvenience you.
Okay, that's usually never the case. However, if that could be completely guaranteed, then yes, I would swerve.
You're only going 20 or 30.
Yeah, you're going real slow. It's just in the suburbs.
So if I'm slow enough to be able to put my brakes on, yes.
You put your brakes on. You wouldn't just like plow through it. Okay.
No, I wouldn't be like, there's a dog on the road. Yeah. Aim for it. Like I'm
10 points.
Woke's just worried about his bumper. That's all.
Yeah, I know, man. It's a fresh paint job. Sorry. But like, I think that putting like animals before
human life. Humans, 100%. I think almost everyone would agree with that, surely. And we don't. Yeah. So
I mean, there's certain humans I'd put animals ahead of. But...
A lot of humans I'd put animals ahead of, to be honest.
Yeah, all humans I'd say. Wait, you guys are saying certain humans you'd put animals ahead of them?
100%.
Yeah, like serial killers. Would you rather, if you had a serial killer or a dog and you have to kill one, are you going to keep the serial killer alive, or are you going to kill?
Yeah, so I don't like saying things if I don't have a strong opinion on it. I'd have to think about it more.
I need to think about that.
Maybe if they were in jail, I guess. Hold on. So what I was trying to get at with Woke is, I think you do care a little bit about the suffering of animals, right?
Yes. No, I do.
As long as it doesn't obstruct convenience.
Yeah. Well, it's not convenient. I mean,
but it is convenience. It's enjoyment.
But like, I outweigh it. And this was something that I've had this conversation with a vegan before. I was like, everybody does things that are harmful to the environment or harmful to something in some way for their own enjoyment of life. For example, drinking Coca-Cola out of a single-use plastic bottle. There is a negative effect to what you're doing when you do that. But at some point, every single human being is here to try to enjoy their life, and they have weighed up, maybe subconsciously quite a lot of the time, but the pros and cons of is my enjoyment worth the risk, or like worth the negative impact that what I'm doing has on the world. And for me, the negative impact that I have on the world by eating meat does not outweigh my enjoyment of meat.
Is that just emotionally, or are you factoring also economic and environmental impacts of meat?
That leads me into another thing that I chucked on my thing, which is production farming environmental impact, or like the global warming impact of production farming, and the social responsibility we have for that. Okay, argument of being a vegan. That was a bit long-winded, but let me break it down. So the closest thing that anyone has ever got to saying to me that has been so close to making me be like, oh, you know what? Actually, maybe I shouldn't be eating meat. Is this argument? And the argument kind of is that, so when you take like animal production farming, and you figure out the negative impacts that it has on global warming, on the environment in terms of land taken up, factor in all of those kinds of things, and how it contributes to the environmental deterioration of the world. Because my whole thing is animals, I don't really care about animals. I do care about humans. I do care about my environmental impact on the world, because it negatively impacts not only other humans in the world, but also future generations of humans. So if you look at it from that perspective and you say, well, by me supporting this industry, the meat production industry or whatever, they are having a negative impact on the environment, which negatively impacts humans through global warming, and negatively impacts future generations through global warming. So therefore, shouldn't I do my best to reduce my impact? And don't I have a social responsibility? I feel like I have a social responsibility to reduce to up my recycling, and to reduce my single-use plastics, and to reduce my environmental impact that way. Do I also have that responsibility when it comes to production farming? And I agree. And that argument was what changed me from being like, I couldn't care less, I love meat, I'm gonna eat meat, and like not really giving it a second thought, to okay, you got me, god damn it, you got me, I'm gonna reduce my animal product consumption.
Okay. And
but
and
not
then
stop, but reduce.
Okay. And then even further, I guess. Yeah, that's good. Further is like also like the water consumption and the food consumption.
All aspects of it, because like the land mass that you use for production farming, like I said, to do it ethically.
Yeah, the methane produced by the actual animals themselves.
Yep. There's a whole heap, like not only the land used to like store the cows, but then also the land used to produce the grain to feed the cows, and
the runoff into the oceans from the feces of the animals and all sorts.
The guy I was talking to about it showed me a study that was like comparing if the whole world was on vegan diets in terms of land use, compared to the whole world on meat production. And I still love meat. I still love it.
Oh, me too.
But I've significantly decreased my animal product consumption from that argument.
Yeah.
Wait. So people want to put animals on the same level as humans. You can go try and convince like a lion to be a vegetarian if we're like on the same level.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like we don't go into like rainforests and like jungles where there's lions and that, and we don't really try and like increase their livelihood. But I guess it comes back to what Work was saying in the beginning. Like we have agency over these ones that we've domesticated and farmed, so we have responsibility over them. Maybe if you can talk about that as well, Fly, with environmental parents.
Yeah, there's nothing morally wrong with hunting for your own food. I don't think there's that.
I would agree.
No, not at all.
So I had this argument with someone, and this is why I've come animal product reduction route rather than being like, okay, I need to completely stop. I completely lost my train of thought.
Reduction rather than complete stop.
I was going to bring up something. Morally, just put to the side. It's not sustainable to be eating meat as much as we do as a society. Less and less water, less and less land, more and more people. I think the river is a fantastic example of how too much of it goes wrong. You know, because what we've done to the Murray River, we've absolutely destroyed it. We've taken too much water out of it, destroyed an entire ecosystem. A lot of farmland's in danger because now there's just water. You know, it's just not sustainable to eat meat as much as we do.
Wasn't that like
You know?
wasn't that like cotton farming though?
No, it was a bit farming. It was a lot. It was more like, you know, agriculture, just in general. So everything. So from, you know, carrots,
Everything up and down the
cotton
mine.
to
Yeah.
yeah.
I honestly think in like maybe 50 to 100 years, this will be something that we look back on like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we treated our environment and our animals like that. And we'll have been able to grow our own meat from a lab by then. And then we'll be like, oh, sweet, we'll just eat the nice tasting meat from there.
I mean, I've definitely thrown that one out before as well. You give me a steak. You give me a vegan steak that is exactly like a normal steak, and I will be a vegan like that. Like instantaneously.
Yeah.
It's getting closer and closer.
Yeah,
like the more you like
Don't you
Beyond Meat is fantastic. I really love it.
Don't you have them at your workplace? Like the Beyond?
Yes.
Yeah?
I do. And I have eaten quite a few of them. And I can say that if you eat them more than twice a week, you don't want to eat them again for a couple of weeks. Just the way, like, there's something not quite there. They're like, it is good. They're like, you eat one of them, and you eat one, and you're like, oh man, that was actually really good. You know, like, really good comparison to normal meat. Like, the way it worked with all the other things I had on my plate really stacked up like great. But then the next day or a couple of days later, you go, all right, I'm going to get another one, and you eat it, and you go, oof, I've had too much of it.
Yeah, that's probably a good time to talk about dietary choices. Fresh.
Yeah.
Because in terms of like being a vegetarian, like I don't particularly eat all that healthily. Like I eat out a lot. I still eat a lot of fast food. But companies like Grilled offer the Beyond Burger. Hungry Jack's have got the straight vegan burger. Domino's were unhappy with the fake meats that were actually out there in the market and have made their own, which is going to be available in September, which they're really excited about. A lot of Asian restaurants, you know, you don't really have to limit yourself on where you go anymore because there are more and more people, so they need to cater for that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good that it's becoming more of a market share. Like they're getting, the vegans and vegetarians are getting more of the market share because money is into development of these fake meats and all that kind of stuff. But like in terms of nutrition, I think that I've read some study, and this might be outdated now. That was talking about how it was comparing like a diet where you eat meat, and I'm not saying necessarily production farming, or it could be like hunted meat, like ethically sourced meat or whatever. But a diet where you eat meat, you can get everything that your body needs through a natural, like grown in the wild product. But if you want to be a vegan and you want to be like completely healthy across the board, there are some supplements that you need to take in terms of, I don't know, to get everything that you need.
Yeah, that'll be for like full on vegans.
Like,
that's true.
Yeah, like for people that like do not eat any animal products at all, or anything that's been produced by like people that don't eat honey or don't drink beer or beer or wine because they use some small trace amounts of animal products while making it.
We all know we need our beer.
Yeah, right. Can't say no to that. But wait, I lost my train of thought again.
They're less healthy. You're saying they're less healthy?
Yeah. No, not necessarily less healthy, because you can be healthy, but it requires supplementation. And that was a study. It was a couple of years ago, that study. So I don't know if it's still relevant.
Yeah.
But I remember reading that and being like, so that's the thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that people. You go, Fray, sorry.
With sorry, mate. The percentage of people that live in a vegetarian or vegan lifestyle that are obese is significantly less than the national population, because you eat more healthily naturally. Like, one of the main things for me was I was not eating very well. I didn't eat a whole lot of veggies. I remember back when I was at uni, I pretty much had malnutrition because I was living off 2-minute noodles, goon boxes, and peanut butter.
Great.
So it also forced me to eat a lot more fruit and vegetables. Like everyone knows the uni lifestyle, especially like on your youth allowance back in the day.
Yeah.
So like it naturally you are more healthy. I do a probiotic, I do a multivitamin, and I do get my bloods checked quite regularly just to check for my all my different bits, my vitamin D's. But yeah, vitamin D. But yeah, no, you can definitely be healthy on it.
And I mean, I wouldn't recommend that someone from like a third world country tries to be a vegan because they protein malnutrition's a thing there. Whereas in our countries, I don't think we're meant to use those terms anymore. But in our more developed,
words?
I think third world is I think it's developing and developed. I don't know. I haven't looked at it enough. But I think in our developed countries, where we're not gonna, nobody's got protein deficiency in our countries.
You still awake there, Law?
Fray on his Fray.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
But it's like veganism becomes more
I
popular.
argue with you.
Sorry, wait, who you both talked? What was that?
He just like threw it to Law, and Law was like, "Yeah, I'm cool."
Oh, cool. He's chilling.
I was just gonna say, as veganism becomes more popular, you're gonna have more and more options.
Yeah,
and that argument that could be, you won't get all your vitamins and you won't be perfect, is going to become void. It's becoming so much more popular. There's so many more options. Beyond Meat changes things, and you can be as buff as Fray on your vegan diet.
Yeah,
and your only source of protein is tofu and beans.
So yes, you can, but the thing that you get at with that argument is, so if you can't get all of this stuff naturally, so like even if we get to a point where you can get everything that you need through a vegan diet, it's going to be through like scientifically created like meat substitutes or like products that they've put these nutritional elements in that we need. It's not going to be through naturally occurring things, right?
Yeah.
And so that's, for me, is the argument for, okay, I'm not saying that we should be having meat every single day, like several times, every meal, every day, 7 days a week, but I think that naturally we should be having some meat in our diet at some point, whether it's once a month or once a week, or a piece of fish and a piece of red meat every week, one time, one meal, I think that is the way that humans are supposed to exist, because we could get all of our stuff naturally.
Well, it would have only been in the last couple of 100 years that we have this problem anyway, because it's since we've been like ridiculously capitalist, all about efficiency. Farmers would have been, farms would have taken care of the animals to the point of that they could, and then when they need to kill them, they shoot them or whatever. But now it costs too much for the bullets or whatever, so we got to do these other methods that seem like really, really cruel. So it's this product of the last, moving further and further for efficiency. We got to cut corners. Who cares about the animals? We just got to get this meat produced. That we've created that. So I'm not saying that back then would have been a bad idea to eat meat. It probably would be still very healthy if we could eat it ethically.
Well, that's the thing, is that like that efficiency, that drive for efficiency was driven by the market. It was driven by like demand of people being like, I want meat.
Yeah.
And therefore, so like it used to be back in the day, everybody would have farms, and everybody would have their own cow, and would grow some cows and kill their own cow, and that would be food for their family.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, well, I've got a little bit of surplus here. I might not be able to keep it for enough time, so maybe I'll sell it to this person that lives in the town that doesn't have their own cow. And then it slowly, and then other people go, oh, I want a cow. And then that farmer goes, oh, well, okay, well, I'll grow more cows. Like I'll get more cows and breed more cows. And then it's the demand of the public that has created the beast that is production farming. And
also their quest for profit as well.
No, yeah, 100%. And the only way that that's going to change is if
The demand goes down.
And this is another reason why I'm for the reduction of consumption of animal products, is that we need to start saying to this industry, hey, you guys are doing it wrong. This is the level that you should be at.
Yeah.
I don't want or need meat that much. Not saying that I don't want meat, and I will still eat meat, but definitely not in the levels, because there was a while there. Like, I know that growing up, I would say I had meat in every single dinner 7 days a week growing up. And like that's like a cultural thing. You know, these days I eat meat maybe once a week in a meal, maybe twice a week, you know? And yeah, and so it's definitely a cultural thing, you know, like that my mum got brought up that way. She would my mum grew up on a farm, and on the farm they would kill their own animals and they would eat them. Weren't killing and they weren't eating meat. But like they always had meat, because you kill a lamb, that's like 2 weeks of food, you know? And so it just kind of, I don't know, it got ingrained in people that you eat meat every night, and the production raised and the demand raised, and we need to get back to a better balance, I think. And with getting back to a balance, I wouldn't mind touching on like the monetary side of things here, where it's like, not only like is there a demand for meat every night, or like a lot of meat, but there's also a demand for low cost meat. And to do low cost meat, you need high efficiency production in order to reduce the costs as much as you can, and like feeding them really cheap feed out of feedlots to reduce the cost of like owning heaps of land and all that kind of stuff. So if we all kind of take a step back and say, hey, we don't need meat that much, then the market will sort of start going back to the point of like, well, not as many people are eating, therefore like we still need to make money here. The price will start raising, the amount of production will drop, and it'll get to the point where meat is actually like it's overpriced, you know, to the point where the masses can't afford to eat meat every night of the week, otherwise they'll go broke. Which is where I think actually it should be at, is where you're looking at meat and you're looking at the prices and like, okay, that's a treat.
Yeah,
meat's a treat, and I think that it used to be a treat when it was like you had to kill your own animal, you know, so you had to raise that animal, and you ate it. It was like a treat, you know. But these days it's like become part of just everyday life, and I think that needs to change. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot.
But you're saying everything
it
that
makes sense.
You're saying everything that I think like 90% of people believe, but and I don't want to. I feel like I keep like questioning you specifically, work, but I'm like trying to question everyone who is in the same box. But it's like it seems inconsistent to know that this is wrong and to know that we should reduce it, but still be like, all right, but I'm still okay with consuming the products that are made here. It'd be like if you have something else where someone is doing that's wrong and they only do it. Like let's say Fray goes drink driving every now and then, like just a little bit, like he's not drunk and he's just a little bit drunk, and you're like, mate, that's like, I don't like that doesn't really sit well with my morals, I don't think that's a good thing. And he's like, but I only do it sometimes. You're like, oh, but I only eat meat sometimes. Like, I don't know if you can be inconsistent in these two areas. And like I was saying before, it doesn't, like, I'm not emotionally like, because I'm buying this packaged meat, I don't feel any emotional attachment to it, and I'm not trying to
disconnect.
Yeah, it's just a complete disconnect. But like thinking it through, it seems really inconsistent to be up in arms about, like, you know, Alinity throwing a cat when I consume meat like a madman.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there you go.
Saying that like education is so for like even in like 10 decade, like no decade, let alone 50 years, you didn't know what was happening to your meat. You didn't know what was happening. Everything you ate, everything was on the plate. But like your cat's completely different. You know, you care if that is directly under control. Yeah, you're all looking at it. It's only very recently where you're learning what's happening to the food that you eat. You know,
Fly. Sorry, Fly, to mention this, but have you got a mic cut off like volume set? Just because
is he cutting out for you?
Yeah. Oh, isn't he not cutting out for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, cool. Me either.
I was going to say.
No, never mind then.
However, you have been cutting out a little bit, work.
oh my goodness. Have I actually?
A little bit. It's just your
It's
Wi-Fi.
Not bad, though. It's not bad at all.
It's not too bad.
My Wi-Fi. Oh no.
It's fine.
Very sad. Sorry to interrupt.
Do you think that has driven a lot of the vegan push these days, Fly?
Yeah, education and is done a world of good. All the documentaries like Dominion, what you're talking, changed so many people's minds. It's just
I agree with that, and the fact that I like ate chicken all the time just because it was cheap, and I basically live alone, so chicken is like the cheapest meat you can get. And now that I catch chickens, I don't want to eat chicken. So now that I know what happens, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm all for education and awareness in schools, ideally, and everywhere that we can get it. Where do you, I put this in my thing as well, my thoughts and slash notes. Where is the line for vegans when it comes when
they take it too far?
Taking it too far
Good question.
for like protesting and awareness raising and education? For example, there's been quite a few of them in Australia recently where like there's been protests at people's like not necessarily their farms, but the like farmers' properties being like you are a killer, you're an animal killer, and maybe violating like trespassing rights as well, getting onto these people's properties when they shouldn't be there. And and there's another one. There was a big one in Melbourne or somewhere where this like vegan protest went into a restaurant where people were like, which is private property, where people were trying to dine out and enjoy their experience or whatever, and they were eating meat, and they were berating them and holding up horrible pictures and all this kind of stuff. At what point, like, is there a line where you go like, okay, look, you guys are allowed to raise awareness, you're allowed to educate people, but you're not allowed to cross the line in terms of like violating the law or trespassing or doing this kind of stuff? Or is it one of those things where it's like, well, we think that everybody should be reducing their meat consumption, therefore we need to get this into everybody's heads so it doesn't matter?
Anyone done any protests? Sorry, go.
Yes, actually, I've done a couple, but it's never been that. It's always been around usually deforestation, but then we can all agree that people like that are idiots.
Most of the time.
I've already said it in your chat before, Fresh. We have like protesters that come to the hard stand, like where we meet in the mornings and take trucks, and they'll write like messages on the concrete and stuff, and they like tape pictures to like the front of our work and everything.
Wow, that's hectic.
Like
what do you guys do? You're just like, hey, get stuff. You
just take it down. I just ignore it.
Yeah, right.
I'm an asshole. I laugh at them. So they'll come up into your face and everything. They're like, you shouldn't be wearing that uniform and stuff. You're a young man. You should have more respect. I just laugh at them and walk away.
I've said this before. The politically left people are really dumb. And I say this as someone who's fairly politically left. And I think vegans are usually very politically left. But they'll go ham. And I used the example of blackface before where someone...
They go ham?
They just go ham. They go
lentil
beef.
bean.
So someone like does blackface and doesn't understand that it's the wrong thing to do, and fair enough, it's a very racist thing because of all the historical connotations. But this person doesn't understand, and these people just like, "Bruh, we'll destroy you," and then it's left with this person really being like, "Oh my goodness, these people on the left are like really hateful. I need to go and like seek refuge elsewhere." And in this example, people will come up and like disturb people and just be generally obnoxious when they're in like protesting. We had a lot of like holdups in our streets and stuff, and people don't think about it enough at the time. You can't be thinking about every issue in the world throughout your day, so people aren't thinking about the rights of animals every time they walk around. And you see this thing going on, you're like, far out, that's a massive inconvenience to everyone, and it just pushes people away. So it's just so dumb, and it really frustrates me because I am fairly left leaning, but I just see these like terrible ways that people do things.
I'm with Fresh. I feel like I'm very left-leaning, incredibly far left as my ideas and stand morally. But I think there's people there are so self-serving, where it's almost in the sense of doing it for themselves. They enjoy it. They enjoy attacking other people, pressing their eyes on. It's just incredibly polarizing. Where if you really cared, you'd be at education and reforms that would tackle the actual issue itself instead of disrupting people's everyday lives to torment with horrible images and polarizing information.
Yeah, some people they legitimately bring kids to like the protests. Like I've seen kids that are like 4 or 5 holding signs, and I'm like, they don't even understand
they don't
half
understand.
of English to know what's going on.
Yeah,
They don't understand anything.
that's
That's
that's an interesting point.
It's odd.
You said that Fray, you said that your sister was bringing up your nephew.
Yeah, so her son,
vegan.
my nephew, yeah.
How do you feel about him not having a choice in that?
I mean, at that age, children have no choice in anything, do they? You could bring your child up on a fruitarian diet. You could bring it on a meat-only diet. You know, at a certain point, you become old enough to make choices for yourself. And I'm sure at some point my nephew will have that conversation with my sister. Who's to say she still is vegan at that point when they have that conversation? But I'm fine with it. You know, she put a lot of research into it. She found a really, really good doctor who's done a lot of vegan births and a lot of vegan children. Yeah, he was cool with it. He wasn't going to get access to certain, you know, amino acids and that sort of stuff, but the research was there, so all good.
Well answered.
Well answered.
Yeah, well answered. Yeah. Never mind. Let's move on.
I'm moving on. I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah, this is the problem.
Can we do a cheeky pee break?
Pee
Because
break,
like
guys?
I'm 4 beers deep.
All right,
and
we're going
like,
for, ladies and gentlemen, we're going for 2 to 3 minutes, and we're going to do a pee break. We'll be right back.
All right.
Are you ready? Be right back.
BRB.
BRB.
We're back. And Fray's got his vegan snacks about. He's got the hummus. Very nice, very nice. Lawless has had a really good question for Fray while we were in the break, and we're like, mate, you need to ask this on the podcast. So he's going to ask it. Go,
Fray, do you feel like really uncomfortable going out with friends who eat meat around you? Or like when you have people over and if they bring their own food and it's meat, does that make you uncomfortable? Or
wait, Fray's muted?
Fray, you're muted.
Fray, you're muted.
Fray, you're muted.
Oh, for me, he's eating the crackers.
He's muted. Like me and Woke we went down south to meet up with Fray, and we ate meat around him. How was that, Fray? You're still muted, buddy.
You're still muted.
It says,
oh my lord.
Hold on. Let me
oh my lord. Oh.
Well, he's gonna leave and come back, I reckon. Oh man.
I'll jump in on this because I was a vegan.
There's back. You good now?
Yeah, you go.
He's good.
Yeah. So like, I'm very much the
your cam's not there though. Camera's gone.
Oh, I got no idea what's going on. I'm very much of the belief that
go.
everyone's like responsible for their own choices in life, and you know, I have dated vegetarian girls, I've dated vegan girls, I've dated meat-eating girls, every girl under the sun, and
meat-eating, you say?
And I'm not like stressed about it. You know, there'd be people that'd be like, "Oh, you just had a steak. Let's not make out." But I'm not stressing about that. If I have that conversation with them and I explain my personal beliefs and they either agree or disagree, then that's on them. But I'm never going to judge someone based on their beliefs. Like, I hope no one would judge me. As you said, we went out for food and you guys got steak sandwiches, was it?
Yeah, something like that. Reuben's.
Yeah, and I got chips, and it was not a big deal at all. So
feels bad thinking about these things that I won't eat again. Anyway. Yeah, Fray's dated everyone. He even dated someone I used to teach. Sounds weird, but
well, yeah,
that sounds really weird.
They would have been young as. Hold up.
I've been teaching for 7 years. It's all right. Don't worry.
Not to go off topic here, but I mean that's kind of something you look for in anyone that you go on a date with, right? Is someone that's not going to be judgmental. Like if you were to say, hey, I really love reading sci-fi books, and she was like, I fucking hate you. You are the worst person on the world. I can't believe that you like reading sci-fi. You probably wouldn't go on a second date with her.
I've got vegetarian on my Tinder profile, but it's not like
unless she was fit. No, just kidding.
You know what's weird is when you do that, you're like your whole head goes out of the camera, so it's just like unless she was fit. Oh my gosh, you weirdo.
Yeah, sorry. But in terms of on my side of that, I'm a meat eater. If I have a person that I'm potentially dating or just hanging out with that is vegan, I have no problem until the point where they start shaming me. And this leads into something else that I've kind of put here is there a halfway point? Do you guys feel like there's a compromise? Is there somewhere that we can meet in the middle?
We can meet in the middle.
Yeah, I know. I put that in my notes, guys. Is there a halfway point both sides can meet?
Oh my gosh. No,
dab. Was that a dab in 2019?
No. Yeah. Mate, Work just unironically dabbed in 2019, guys.
Or is it all or nothing for vegans and vegetarians? Like, is it like you have to, like, they will not accept you eating meat? Or can you guys get on board with the whole idea of reduction and sustainability rather than just being like, cut it out?
The once again, the moral inconsistency is what gets me, and that's why I'm all or nothing with that, because I feel like I need to live life in a way that is as consistent as possibly can be. Like I love the Gandhi quote, "Be the change that you can be in the world," or "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," rather. And if I'm okay, and I was okay with animals just suffering, so I was all, and now I've changed to being nothing, because I don't feel like I could be consistent in allowing them to suffer for my own enjoyment of their meat. So I know what you mean, like all or nothing, in terms of like, can you halfway points are hard though, because then it's like I'm compromising my morals a little bit, just to I'm kind of coming out of it from like a meat eater going like halfway to being not meat eater. Whereas you're probably more saying, can a vegetarian be okay with someone? Holy crap, Mr. Quiffer, I haven't seen him in ages. Anyway, sorry. Would it be okay for a vegetarian? Would they be okay with like a meat eater who's like, oh, I'm just reducing like the amount of meat that because I know it's bad, but I'm not willing
I'm fine
to go
with
the
anyone
full
that
way.
makes any positive change. Any change is a positive change. So
Yeah, it's good.
Power to anyone that's making a difference.
Power to anyone. Yeah.
Power to anyone.
And that's something that like I've come across quite a lot, and that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it, was that there's a lot of people that I've come across that are vegan that are too extreme in not extreme in terms of their views, because it's kind of like there's like you're vegan or you're not vegan. You either eat animal products or you don't eat animal products, but extreme in terms of the way that they talk to people about it, the way that they the way that they interact with meat eaters is extreme. Like they see someone eating meat and they feel compelled to say something, to interact and be like, hey, like you do not understand that this is like a sentient being and you're contributing to animal cruelty and all this kind of stuff. Whereas like it's hard because it turns so many people off. You know, so many people are like they have a arc-up reaction to that, where they go, I've got two sides here. I've got a side that has never caused me any grief or any annoyance, meat eaters, and I've got a side here that's like in my face all the time and angry and upset and protesting and all this kind of stuff and making my life a misery in some way, making my life harder in some way. So like, why would I choose that side rather than this side? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that we should, I don't know. I think that we need to get across to like vegans and vegetarians that there's a right way to do education, and there's a right way to do that side of things, other than protesting and stuff, other than getting. I think there's a negative way to do it that hurts the cause rather than
definitely
like boosts it. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'd say the majority of vegans are good. They do what they should do. They try to educate properly. There's a very small minority, but they're a very, very loud minority, which is the one that everyone focuses on. You know, the minority ruins it for the majority, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Incredibly polarizing, and they don't try and educate anyone. Like, it's really hard to change if person talking to you is just telling you that they're not telling you why.
Very true.
They're just telling you that you're wrong, not giving you any information, just telling you you're disgusting, what you're doing is wrong. They're not trying to tell you why, instead of just telling you that you are.
Yep, Mr. Ovets has explained it really well. Exactly like you said, Fly. And you need to leave room for growth in people. They need to be able to grow themselves. You can't just be like, this is wrong, bang. And I totally draw parallels with religious people there too. The majority of them are like, understand that so like Christian people understand that the Bible is like an inclusive book that's meant to help people to love everybody. And then you have a minority who are very vocal, who are just all about like judgment and like, you are wrong and you need to change your values and so on. It's not a good way to do things at all.
Yeah. You had on here, Fly, that you wanted to talk about hunting. And I'm down for talking about hunting 100%. Specifically the difference between, what you had, specifically the difference between hunting for food and trophy hunting.
Yeah, I think that's a really important conversation, because maybe not in Australia, but like in America especially, there's a lot of hunting, and of it, you know, is just trophy hunting. You go out to do it for fun, not for food. I think it's especially when you go to Africa and you're herding endangered species plus legs, even, you know, lions, giraffes, rhinos and stuff, that you're just shooting them for a head rather than for food. And if you go out and you kill to eat and harvest, you know, enough, maybe not, like, obviously you should harvest all of it, but if you're going out and you cook it, I don't really have a problem with that. When you're going out and you're killing things for trophies, disgusting. It's a terrible practice. I think it's really to talk about, because it's
okay. So where do you stand on the thought process of, or like the argument of, so poachers, terrible problem. Everyone can agree that like people killing animals for like their horn on a rhino, for example, the ivory or whatever it is not great, and it's but through the efforts of organized trophy hunting, there's income for the government and for the I don't know what you call them, like the rangers and stuff, to start doing anti-poacher works, and it contributes to the conservation of those animals.
I agree with that in theory, but there is so much corruption and it's just done properly. It's not regulated correctly. You know, if you do it properly, it's fantastic. If you go out and hunt animals, you track the animals, you do it properly, fantastic. You know, it builds up communities. It does so much for the species that you just don't do it properly.
So,
and a lot of trophy hunting isn't done like that. Like, you know, they say this is how a lot of people do it, but in reality, it's, you know, a lot of people who just head over there, they get a guide, they get a gun, and that's all they do.
What about so like I saw a stat, and it was just a stat. It wasn't a study or anything like that, and it could have been completely fake. Where it was like, so since like organized trophy hunting had been introduced in terms of elephants and lions, and rhinoceros, the percentage of poaching killings had been reduced like a ridiculous amount. Like it was, I can't remember.
Sorry,
exactly.
what was the mechanism that they used to reduce that?
So it was through organized trophy hunting. So it was like you pay us. Oh, you want a lion head? You want to come and farm a lion head in this reserve in Africa? It's $500,000.
Okay.
Or maybe not $500,000, but whatever the price is. And then that income is then used to, maybe some of it is corrupt and some of it goes to the wrong pockets, but then some of it is also used to help conserve and help restore the populations and help the population live in balance with the ecosystem and all that kind of stuff.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all because in theory, it's fantastic, but animal populations in Africa are still increasing. We have less lions, less giraffes. They're all on the verge. Like we just had, not yet, but theoretically, the extinction of rhinos. Oh, is it the black rhino?
I don't
It's
know.
no longer. They're still alive, but you know, come 10 years, they're dead. There's no way to change it. There's not enough of the species to continue to live, and that's just because it's not done properly. And it's like India's a fantastic example because they don't do any poaching, and they don't have a ton of money. They don't put a ton of money into it, but they do way. And you can see like the tigers, for example, 3 times the tigers run here than there was.
Yeah, I saw something the other day that was celebrating the tigers had like tripled or like doubled population size in the last like year or something like that.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job over there, and they're doing that without that comes from poaching. You know, you don't. There's a right way to do things, even if there is money. Can do, you know, it can really help the populations of species. Again, like India is a fantastic example of incredible things. That's not even with, you know, just animals. It's with like all fauna. The forest coverage is increasing in India because they're planting trees. They're doing what they should be doing. Yeah, and it's coming at no threat of me or anything like that.
Yeah,
they're just doing.
I mean, for the record, I definitely agree with you. I'm not for trophy hunting. I think that the people that want to trophy hunt, they're like a certain breed of human that I don't get or understand or want to be a part of that life. Like it's a kind of weird thing to think that you gain some pleasure just from like hanging something on a wall that was like a living. I don't know. It's weird to me.
How are you saying that is different to like, so I don't get how people get outraged by trophy hunting when they still would participate in the agriculture that we have. I don't know how it's different other than we're removed. Like we can see someone else doing something bad and we're like, you should stop that, as opposed to us doing something bad and we're like, yeah, but I like the meat. I like the taste of meat.
Oh, damn. got me in a corner. Um,
I don't mean. I'm not trying to trap you. I'm just.
I mean, no.
Just from like a
and
preservation of
and this is-
species standpoint.
like
Yeah,
I-
like conservation kind of. Is that the argument?
yeah,
Yeah.
and whereas I'm more talking about, I'm not talking semi-borderline extinct species when I'm talking about eating cows. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, it does fall into that category of every single person in the world makes some sort of moral way up of, I really want to do this because I really enjoy it. So, and that outweighs the perceived negative thing that I see, that I feel, you know, like this animal is going semi-extinct, or it's a little bit rare, or it's whatever, an important part of an ecosystem, but I really, really want to have it. You know what I mean? And even though I don't relate and I don't understand and I think it's weird, that doesn't mean that they're, I don't know, bad humans. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
Where do you guys stand on, Melbourne carp and dog racing and circuses and zoos? Where do we feel about those things?
I guess they are like when horses lose races or horses aren't performing properly or they get injured, the horse is put down usually or sold off. I feel like that's not very good. I don't know. Because like the horse has been trained and you can form an attachment with a horse, and then I guess having to like have it put down just because it lost a race, it's pretty shit.
Yeah.
But
Grills love horses, man. Fray knows. He's a stallion.
Oh, Jesus. Shout out to Katie.
But yeah, I mean, more for me, like the raising conditions and the like conditions that those greyhounds and that are kept in is like hectic. And then there's like a lot of, I mean, that Dominion documentary, like there's a lot of just a lot of bad stuff that happens in that industry. And it's just for people's enjoyment. It's similar to meat. It's it's very similar.
I thought it was ridiculous that because New South, I'm not sure if it was Australia, but New South Wales put the ban on greyhound racing in general, and the outrage from the public. I thought it was ridiculous. Personally, I think that was a great thing they did, because the industry itself was disgusting. The way we went about it, there's a right way to do things, obviously, and they weren't doing it, and then it was banned. But the outrage was insane.
Yeah, definitely
incredible.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember reading about it. Where do I stand on that? I'm not really sure. It's a weird one because I don't really partake. You know, like I don't watch horse races. No interest to me. I don't watch dog races. Trying to think of any sport that I watch that has animals involved. Nah.
No. There is none.
Like none. Like I don't watch fishing sport. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
What about if your significant other was like, "Oh, I've got us 2 tickets to the circus tonight. Are you down for a circus hang?" Or
I would probably say yes, but I don't. Are there a lot of circuses that are like not like really cheap circuses that like have like animals in?
The dodgy one that comes around Mandurah all the time. It's got a couple of lions and a couple of horses. Yeah, it's real.
Well, I mean,
it's Mandurah.
This gets us onto like zoos.
Yeah.
Where do you guys stand on zoos?
Don't like zoos. Haven't been to a zoo since I was about 10 years
I've
old.
never been to a zoo in my whole life.
Never. Wow.
Never. Wow.
My family never like did that kind of thing, and like school excursions. I never went onto like the zoo. We never had one for a zoo. I don't think through my whole school. So
I think zoos are actually important.
Remembering this. So.
Oh, sorry, Law. Zoos are incredibly important for preservation of species as well, because 20 to 30 years, a lot of species are going to be concentrated in zoos, and we're just going to constantly be moving around the population to avoid inbreeding, and that's how a species is going to survive until we reintroduce it into an environment. But there's like right ways to do it. Like I'm not sure if you've been to Tura. They've got a very small area to put a lot of animals, and it's incredible conditions. But you head to somewhere like Dobbo, where it's 30 times big with half the animals, and they do really good with like large enclosures, and I think that's okay. That's like the good way to do it. But zoos and circuses as well, it's just not.
Yeah, and so quite a lot of zoos these days, they've got that like the conservation side is a big part of what they do. They're they're there to not necessarily keep animals like they're not there to put on a show. Like I know that Pursu several times, because they didn't have like an animal specifically that needed like rehabilitation and stuff like that, dropped out of like a few different exhibits. And
I swear that's every time I go there. No animals. When I was a kid.
Yeah.
Damn it, they're missing
And they've
animals.
got this thing where it's like for certain animals, for example, the elephant, they're not purchasing, or they're not like trying to find replacements for the ones that they've got. So the ones that they've got are like getting very old, and they're then, unless an elephant comes around that they could potentially buy that is that it needs rehabilitation and stuff like that, they're not looking to buy another one. You know what I mean?
I think
and
in Australia it's like I don't like using anecdotal evidence, but my uncle was a zoo keeper. I don't know if that's the right term, but and he said like the regulations are pretty tight in Australia, and different to the agriculture industry where the regulations are tight. There's like, what is it, like 5 zoos in Australia, so they can like police them pretty well. So they're okay, and they're good for conservation. I feel like I'm okay with zoos. I'd have to be shown another documentary on zoos, Fray. Give me one. Show me a Dominion on zoos.
One of the
I mean,
saddest
they
experiences for me was when I was in Thailand, and you see all these. I'm not going to say who they are, but you see specific Australian people go and get photos with the tigers, and the tigers are heavily sedated, and they've had their teeth ripped out, and they just look.
That's a big oof.
It makes me feel so sad, and they post these pictures on Facebook, and I've had to unfriend a few people because you just think, come on, like, do a bit of research.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Wait, why is that bad work?
God.
I thought we didn't care about them.
It's pretty bad because no, I do care about them. You keep saying, oh, you don't care. No, I do, but I've weighed up my enjoyment of eating meat against the like my moral compass in terms of like the animal cruelty side of things, and been like, I enjoy eating meat more. Yeah.
That's what most people do. But then you have to be okay with being someone who's like, dude, I just really enjoy hating black people, and it's like really great in my life. And you gotta be like, well, he's weighed up the options and the negative effects of that. Like, where do you stand on, like, how could you have a stance in that argument?
Okay, I think that everybody is an individual, and even though, like, I know there's racists in the world, for example, all right, but all I can do is question them on it and like push them to try to be better in terms of my own point of view. I can't force them to, you know what I mean? So it's like all that you can do, and you have another, and all you can do is question me on it and try to change my mind. But there's a point with me, for example, in this topic where I get to where I'm like, I love meat. And what are you gonna? There's nothing you can say to me that will stop me from eating a piece of steak, pretty much.
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
like,
I know.
and it's even though I might not be able to explain away my feelings and completely logic and reason my feelings behind certain animal cruelty things, and maybe they're a bit contradictory. The point is that I fucking love steak.
Yeah,
man, give me one of those fucking tomahawk cuts. I'll just like melt in my mouth.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to get you to stop eating meat. I'm just trying to get the rationale behind the person in your moral situation, which is the majority of people, although you seem to be the only one on this podcast. So I keep on asking you questions.
I'm actually going to agree with Woke on this one, because things can't be so black and white. You know, everything's way or this way.
Yeah,
you can feel a certain way, but still to eat meat, for example. You can care about animals, still want to eat meat.
I agree.
Fine.
And like, and there's a certain point exploitation. So like, for example, like I'm eating cows that we have bred and developed for being consumed by humans. They've got a certain life that they live and they die and they're eaten, right? Whereas a tiger is and this comes down to that duty of care we have that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, that I feel like we have when we take control over an animal's life. So a tiger, for example, is a completely wild creature. Okay, if that creature was in the wild, we have no duty of care for it. All right, like it's in the wild, whatever. But like once we start taking care of it, keeping it alive, there's a duty of care for it, and that those tigers that are getting pictures taken of it, not just tigers, they're elephants being ridden and like all that kind of stuff. There's a duty of care that we have to care about those creatures, and and so they're being exploited, and I don't like that.
I get that point.
But that said, I will still eat a juicy steak. Give me that red meat, boy.
I think it's back to the moral realist versus moral relativist argument, where I think then you can't ever tell someone that what they're doing is not okay. Well, I wouldn't say you can't ever tell someone, but it would be hard to justify if you know something that you're doing is not okay morally, but you're doing it because you feel like you enjoy it more than it being wrong. How can you then go and be like, look, man, don't abuse that girl or whatever? Because he could be like, well, I enjoy that more than, I know it's wrong, but I enjoy it.
What if you don't enjoy it, but it's a need? So, like, I need to do my job for money, but I know my job and the workplace I work in is like not very correct. But like, I can't quit my job because I need money.
Yeah, no,
Fresh and I actually had
job,
a conversation about that. Law, and we both agree with you completely. Like you're in a situation where your survival depends on you doing a job that I completely disagree with.
Exactly.
But at no point would I ever tell you quit your job on a moral stand because you need money to live.
The only thing that's made me want to quit my job is like when I have to walk around and pick up the dead birds at the end of the day or end of each shed. Is like I catch barehanded, so I never wear gloves. And like having cold dead feeling in your hands is horrible. Like carrying 5 chickens in each hand, just the cold dead feeling. I hate it. It makes you feel sick.
Yeah. Okay. So like that, with that argument, it's kind of like that. Humans first is the argument that you're putting there, kind of thing. It's like he is a human, therefore he has to work and has to have a livelihood. Therefore, it's okay for him to be in a situation where there might be a little bit of animal cruelty.
Don't want to die. My puppy wouldn't understand what happened.
Exactly. And that's kind of like where I come from, is like I put humans first.
Yeah, but I'm trying to then draw analogies to other moral situations where humans are still being put first, but you know that it's wrong. Well, no, that's not the right way to say it. That where we're using humans in the example, but it's something that you know that's wrong. Well, like where do you get the morals from then? Like, is it just everyone just decides for themselves? Because that doesn't seem like a good way to do things, just based on enjoyment.
Well, morals are based on societal norms, and the societal norms are becoming that animals are being less and less eaten. And as you said, eventually there'll be a point where potentially no animals are eaten anymore.
But then if you're in different society, so if you're in a different society, you have a different moral. So let's say you go to a place that eats dog. Is that the moral?
Yeah, that is. And also in India where 30% of people are vegetarian.
So then if you go to like a super right-wing Islamic country and everyone's wearing burqas, you'd be like, well, every female should wear burqas. Yeah, that would be your moral adoption.
If you were brought up that way, then you probably do have that belief.
Actually, yeah. So there's a guy at work called Rad. I always tell like stories about him. He is Arabic, and they don't eat meat. Like he doesn't eat meat. So every time in the mornings when we go to like to stop to get food on the way to work, he always stops me from buying meat, and he'll make me buy like a lettuce, like sandwiches with like just lettuce and cheese on them, and water. That's it. He won't let me get meat. He tells me.
But he works in the chicken shop.
I don't think, yeah, but he doesn't eat meat at all, and he gives me apples all the time. I'm
really
so over getting apples.
Yeah, I'm like that's really interesting. I just don't know where like we can get our morals from. I feel like I'm like a. I think I'm a moral realist.
I feel like this has been
for over like every podcast. I know.
Yeah, you're just like, where do I get my moral?
Because I think if you want to be like a person who gives advice to people, or maybe doesn't even just give advice, is someone who's like respected in what they do, then you have to have some pretty consistent values that you stick to. And
a lot of people get their morals from the Bible, Fresh.
Yeah, so like divine command would be that would be an okay place, I'd say. Well, maybe you get your morals from there, or maybe you like you tell it, like if someone is always for the good of everybody, then that's okay as well. That's also like an absolute moral stance. It bothers me to say that you could be ambiguous between person to person. And I get that everything is situational, but it really bothers me to be like, because if I make things situational, then everything becomes like, how am I meant to tell this person that I think they're wrong? How can I tell anyone that they're wrong?
I don't think that you can. I don't think that you can tell someone that they're wrong. All you can do is present your opinion and give them and try to educate them on your opinion and your point of view.
But you can think someone's wrong.
Yes, you can think someone's wrong, but that's your point of view.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily correct.
Yeah. Everyone thinks they're right, and if they think they're wrong, they're going to make a change in their own life. Yeah. And if they're not making a change, it's because they think they're right.
That's true.
You know, and it's this weird, this weird thing where.
But then but aren't we saying that we're sometimes doing things that we're wrong, that we know are wrong?
Yes.
Okay, but then everyone doesn't think they're right.
You think that like people that like serial killers, you know, like, do you think that they're like, this is the worst thing that I like? Not, I mean, actually, there's probably some of them that think that this is the worst thing that I could be doing, but some people actually don't necessarily understand or don't get in their head that it's wrong. And so, yeah, sorry, I feel like we're getting a bit off topic here.
Bad. Everyone got weird. Yeah, no, sorry. We're going a bit off the animal topic.
Yeah. So to bring it back, yeah, I know. Oh wait, so you said that. So what we're talking about, sorry, was where do we draw the lines on what's not okay to kill and eat, and is it a cultural thing? And yeah, I definitely think it's totally based on like the societal norms of the time, which as Kelsey put in the chat, I hate societal norms. I agree. It's like one of those things where it's like a necessary evil though. Like we can't function as a society unless there's like a majority and a minority of opinions, you know, and on animal cruelty and veganism, this is something that we just kind of like, yeah, it's there. Like at the moment, it's still leaning more in the eat meat is okay section, but like, I don't know, it's getting there slowly but surely. Yeah.
I even if I become a vegan, I'm going to be of the opinion that eating meat is okay. There's just a right way to do it. And I don't think we're doing it right. There should always be the option to eat meat that is sustainable and ethically okay. And it's just not at the moment.
Yeah.
There really isn't an option.
I'm the same.
I read something where it was like, there was, this is a few years ago again, and I don't remember it very well, but it was like American thing where they made it against the law to sell your kill. So like if you were a hunter of certain types of meats, then you weren't allowed to then go hunt and take that to like a marketplace and on sell that meat. You had to have like licenses and stuff through the government to be able to have a business around selling meat. And the idea behind it was that if we have it open, so like everybody can just go and hunt and kill their own meat and then sell whatever excess they don't need to their neighbors and stuff like that, then why wouldn't you do that? Because all these animals are wild, they're free, like that's free food. Like why wouldn't you do that? But then what was happening was too many people were going out and killing these animals, and then the populations were dropping drastically, and it was getting like the ecosystem was getting thrown out of balance, and it was bad for the environment and bad for the type of animal in that area. And so they were like, okay, we need to stop this. Like there can be no hunting. And so they said there's no hunting at all to regulate that balance. So now you have to have a license. Quite often these animals have to be like farmed animals rather than hunted animals. So like Fly, what's your take on that? Like, what do you think that we should be going down more the path of farmed animals, or do you think that it should be completely wild hunting, which is like once again semi unsustainable? Even though, yeah, I don't know, it's a weird one.
Hunting is unsustainable if it was our only source. Right now, it's fine, which is why I eat it. I only eat game meat. But like America's like a weird thing. I'm pretty sure the example you're doing is elk was a really big problem because of Chinese medicine. There was mass killings of elk hunters because the first layer of the horn, like their antlers, was being shaved off to use in medicine. Was all they'd do. They'd kill the elk, shave off the horn. That's like that whole thing where it's like you can go out and kill an animal, use 1% of its body, and you'll do that 1,000 times, and you completely destroy an entire ecosystem.
That's like sharks being finned.
Exactly. That's a perfect example.
Dump the shark back in the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it falls to the bottom.
Just destroys the entire species.
So you're saying that like it'd be okay if they were using like, so you would be okay with them using like killing the same amount of sharks as long as they were using the entirety of the shark?
I'd probably say no. I think right now what they don't is sustainable. Do it, but if it was on mass, we still use 100%. I'd probably change my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm open to change, so I'd definitely change my opinion if it threatened the species. Probably become vegan, but there's like I'm not opposed to farming and agriculture. I think it's a right way to do it.
I agree. Exactly.
Don't think we're doing it. We're making realistically no attempt to do it.
Yep.
Maybe
a little attempt, but not much.
So then what would you say to the thought process of behind like, okay, so it got to the point where it was unsustainable to be like ethically killing meat and hunting it for everybody because too many people were doing it. And so they were like, okay, maybe we need farming these meats, only farming these meats. And that's a more sustainable way to do it because otherwise ecosystems go whack and different species go extinct.
I'd agree. I'd say if you can do farming right, I'd eat meat. I'd eat the meat. If I was like, if I knew what was happening to meat, if I was educated on it, and they put it in front of me and said, okay, this is how we do it. And I agreed with the ways they do it. I thought it was ethical. I'd agree. I'd eat the meat. I think that's completely okay. I'd stop eating game meat if it threatened the species. But farming can be done right, and it's easily available to do it right. And I think we're going to have to do it right.
Yeah, I'm in that boat as well. I think that we can do farming. We can do farming right. It's just not happening at the moment. And as I said in my thing, I'm all for government intervention where they're just like ruthless. Like there's a farm inspection every week, or like I'm not sure exactly how the economics of that would work, but like like there needs to be more inspections. There needs to be more accountability of these farms. Like man, live video feeds. How easy would it be for these farms to have live video there, like lots? I think very easy. For your Twitch channel for every single farm in the world.
For every farm. Good.
There needs to be heavy regulation, like there is in like restaurants. Like I know I'm part of like very large restaurant, but I have like a lot of health inspections, and this guy's every month checking everything. They're incredibly strict. There needs to be something like that with agriculture because there really isn't. There's no
incentive.
Obviously regulations, but they're not enforced.
Yeah,
that's true.
Everyone in chat's like teasing me, and I've bloody dropped my guacamole all over the floor. So.
Cruelty, mate.
I did.
Those
cruelty
avocados
to the camera,
died.
cruelty to the guac.
Those avocados suffered. They were peeled. Their skin was peeled. Actually, no, you don't peel
avocado.
I mean, okay,
Katie's
that's
the only one sticking up for me.
To come on to another topic there. Do plants have feelings?
Maybe.
Science says yes because
science
they are sensitive to their environment
yes at the moment.
But
there's definitely we're very far from a consensus on the issue. But quite a lot of the reports that I'm reading are like, yes, there's evidence to show that they respond to pain, that they respond to like the other plants that are around them.
Anything that's alive has to be able to respond to everything around it. But there's also plenty of evidence to say that they don't respond like people and animals, and even plenty of like insects don't respond like animals as well. They don't have
speciesist.
they don't have like the brain capacity to feel pain on that certain level. So there's
line's like if it has a face, I'm not going to eat it. That's how I justify it. If it has a face, I'm not going to eat it.
What about like fish? Do they have faces?
Yeah, they got faces.
Of course.
Okay, they got faces. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Wouldn't you say that like a flower is like the face of a plant?
I don't eat flowers.
Wait, so what about like a bee? Does a bee have a face? I mean, not that you could eat bees, but like
honey. Heaps of vegans don't eat honey.
I don't eat honey. Yeah.
What about ants? Do they have faces? Would you kill ants if they came into your house? Well, if they were stealing your guacamole right now, would you squash those ants?
Not
Yes.
really. I'd probably
Really?
try and move them outside.
Oh mate, you have
How are
some
you gonna
very
move those ants
consistent.
outside?
That's
The
crazy.
line that got drawn for me was my dad asked me if your house was going to get eaten by termites, would you kill the termites? Yes, I'd kill the termites.
Yeah.
But if I can rehouse a spider, or I will always try to. The only thing is, if a mosquito's on me, I'll give it a good old. But that's about it. Just because I don't want to get Ross River.
Mate, what year do you live in?
Yeah, and that's something that I like. I've definitely said that to a vegan out of spite before. Is like, well, like, you kill insects.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where it's like, pretty much you can guarantee that even while they've been like violently is the wrong word, but like vehemently, well, I don't
vehemently,
know, whatever,
like
whatever,
aggressively.
vegan. Yeah, aggressively vegan.
Aggressively vegan.
Aggressively, that's a better way to put it. Like, they've been practicing aggressive veganism, but they still have killed insects while being that way. And I'm like, why?
I feel like insects don't matter at all, except more bees matter, because that's how we get coffee. And
You
everything.
heard it
No,
here first.
Why-
I don't care about insects.
Why don't they matter?
matter.
If we can explain why they don't matter, then that's fine. But why don't they matter?
I'll explain.
I don't know.
Go.
I just feel like there's only a few insects that are actually like important, like bees and stuff, like coffee and everything. Like, those are important insects.
Bees for coffee?
But, like, what's a
I
ladybug
didn't know
gonna
that
be?
bees have coffee.
I would say that if you're going down the like
Just-
every single animal or insect or everything that's in our ecosystem at the moment is important to a healthy ecosystem.
I guess, but like, what's a fly good for?
It's food. It's
not
a fly is food. That's literally all it is.
Throwing out another.
I guess for a spider.
Fly as is food.
Yeah.
So why do you
I am
think
food.
animals aren't important?
Fly is a
Fly.
snack.
Go.
I was talking about, okay, I'm going to go insects specifically.
Yeah.
I think like a cow, you're not directly like, let's go, this is instinctual. This is stuff that's like genetically learnt. 1,000 years ago, you're never realistically under threat from a cow, a sheep, or a chicken. But, bugs carry diseases, spiders are poisonous. Back then, even like 100 years ago, if you get bitten by a funnel web or a snake or something like that, you die. You kick the bucket. That's it. Even if it's something that you can survive given a week, 200 years ago, you'll die. You won't have the food. You won't have the means to survive because you won't be able to work or hunt. So instinctually, you see something like that and you hate it. You hate a bull ant, something like that. You hate it to be away from you. That's why people are so scared of spiders. It's because 200 years ago, you see a spider, that can be you're done. Your end.
I don't know about explaining it through tradition though, because like 200 years ago, all black people are slaves, and then we realized that was bad.
Like, I'm not saying like
true.
obviously that was bad, but like this is stuff that's instinctually, this is your genetic thing.
Okay, I get that.
50,000 years in the making. You're just gonna always be scared of spiders.
Okay, yeah, good. I get that. I think there's plenty of studies as well that show that they don't have the same nervous systems and that as mammals, and they experience, although they have to be able to, anything that is alive has to be able to respond to its environment. That's one of the characteristics of being alive. There's like 10 different ones. Does everyone remember Mrs. Grant? Anyway, there's like they have to be able to respond to their environment, but they don't necessarily like pain is not a feeling that they have, and that's why I would say that it's like the agriculture industry is wrong. It's because of the pain. I don't like I've stated already, I don't care about them dying. It's that suffering and pain that is the difference. Anyway, I think we're coming up on 2 hours. I feel like we should get to some. We've got a lot of questions in the Discord that we should get to from viewers.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for some questions.
Sweet. All right.
Tis 1 a.m.
What are your thoughts on having another bathroom break?
Hey, we can do another 1 minute
What are your
bathroom
thoughts
break.
on no? Oh
What are your thoughts on a bathroom break? I've had a lot of beer. I had like 4 beers before this podcast started.
We'll do 1 minute bathroom break. We'll be back to answer the chat questions. 1 minute.
Awesome.
Go.
Yeah, well, we're back and we're jumping into questions. Fresh, have you got the Discord open?
Yeah, I've got the Discord open. If anyone wants to chuck a
Awesome.
question in, exclamation mark question in the chat. Also, you can just go to my Discord and it's called Podcast Questions is the channel. We got heaps. So Kat's got a couple. We'll start with first one from Kat. Says, do you believe in climate change? How will Antarctica melting affect the world? Good.
Damn. Broad.
I reckon we could probably flick mainly to Fly because he's conservation, our resident conservation man.
Obviously, rising sea levels is an incredibly dangerous thing in itself, as well as everything else that climate change would do. Obviously, we're going to lose islands, things like Hawaii, New Caledonia. What's going to happen to them that are so reliant on those sea levels staying the same level? But if we're going to keep talking about animals, agriculture is facing massive difficulties in relation to climate change due to just changing temperaments and weather. So you say, chocolate. Let's use chocolate as an example. It's got a very, very particular weather pattern and temperature which it needs to, and it grows mainly out of Africa. And a lot of that is changing. Places are too hot, too dry. There's no water to grow. So you say 10 years from now, chocolate's going to be 3 times expensive as now. Things like that. And then with agriculture, there's just not enough water. There's not enough, just realistically water to sustain the amount of animal and agriculture that we do, the way we do it.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to someone actually in the car yesterday about how there's arguments against and for climate change, and a lot of people find it really hard to stop. Like, there's arguments against and for the flat Earth, and like some of them are really convincing, which is stupid. But it's hard. It's very hard for people to distinguish between like a good argument and one that's just convincing and arguing the wrong things. But I think that and I haven't looked totally into it, but for me, like, you can see that there's pretty clear motivation in big companies and people who control these things, the information, to try and say that climate change isn't a thing, so they can continue with their mass production, continue with polluting the world. Whereas I don't see a whole lot of motive behind someone saying that we should really reduce this. Anyway, anyone else?
Well, it's really hard to go about it because, people, especially the people in power, have got so much interest in the way we live our lives right now. And change is incredibly dangerous for them because, for us, it's a good thing, but for them, it means less money. So, you've got tons of money in, say, farming. 30 years from now, that's not sustainable, as well as, power plants. 30 years from now, it's going to be realistically a lot of sustainable energy, like wind farming, solar. I don't want to say, but nuclear as well is a really, really promising option. And that's all new money. That's all new companies doing all that. And that's not really, that's not what they want. They don't want us to move on as a society.
Yeah, it's true. The motives are all there. So I suppose we could say, does anyone not believe in climate change here?
One Nation?
No, it's obviously true.
We're not talking about Pauline Hanson, mate.
Definitely
Scott Morrison.
All right, cool. I feel like most of us are not conspiracy theorists then. All right, next question from Katie. Do you think it's okay for people to push their vegetarian vegan lifestyle on others? We kind of answered that a little bit. And then she also said, if you're a vegan vegetarian, would you also feed your pets vegetarian meals? If not, why?
That's a tough one.
Can I take that one?
There was a big one on that. Yeah, go for it.
So basically, like, animals fall into the category of carnivore, omnivore, or herbivore, and if you can only exist as a carnivore, like, you kill your animals if they are carnivores and you only feed them vegetables. So of course that is wrong. Like, there's no way that you can say that. There's been people that have killed their dogs by trying to make them eat lettuces as their only means of food, and that's disgusting. So definitely not about that.
Yeah, there you go. Like, I don't know if you guys know Vegan Gains. Do you know him? He's relatively prominent.
God damn it! Yeah.
He got a dog, and like, it almost died because they tried to keep it on like a completely vegan diet. Yeah, and I don't know. I have no idea what they were doing. Like,
wait, didn't it die? Didn't it actually, like, legitimately die?
The breeder like saw what he was doing and took it back. So I don't know what happened to it after that, but at last I heard was the breeder saw what was happening and took it back.
Yikes.
My dog will eat vegetables if I offer him vegetables, I'm pretty sure.
But can he only eat vegetables? Thing.
No, dogs need meat. They'll become so skinny and malnourished without it, I feel like, without meat.
Yeah.
Not good.
So
dogs are carnivores, they do need it.
Exactly.
Humans become skinny without meat. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Sorry.
Whoa. Fray's there posing on his chair and you're ripping him about being skinny. He's wearing his...
Who's calling me skinny?
Whoa,
the guns.
I never said
pull out
skinny.
the guns, woke.
The gun show. Mate.
I bench pressed 12 kilos.
Lucky I've got a baggy jumper on.
Wait, did you have to like somehow like reduce the bar weight or something?
All right.
Oh gosh. Okay. Next one. Do you want to go work? Have you got it open, or do you want me to keep reading?
No, I don't have it open yet.
That's cool. All right. So Kat also said, we eat the specific meat because we grew up in a society that told us what meat to eat. Do you think do you think in the future the variety of meat / animals being eaten will change? In what way? Will we eat different animals or will we stop eating them altogether? Great. I actually love this question. Really good.
I think obviously this is about the future, so it's all speculative, but I think we would definitely go down the path of like the writing's on the wall already. I think we're on the way to scientific meat. You know, like lab created meat, and that's the way the world's going to go.
Yeah. Like I was saying before, I think 50, 100 years we'll look back on it like we look back on slavery.
We're definitely not going to change the meats we eat, though. That's not going to change.
What do you mean?
No,
I
think
wouldn't
we've
lab
come
meat be
too far I think we've come too far in the way of like the farming practices to be like, oh, we're going to actually start farming bulk rabbits now, you know, maybe, I don't know, bulk lion, what a treat. Like, we're going to start farming lions.
We could start farming kangaroos. There's double the amount of kangaroos to people in Australia.
There are kangaroo farms in Australia.
Yeah, apparently. And they're like really, really good for the environment. Or like better than the cow ones anyway, apparently.
Yeah.
I ate a lot of kangaroo, so I should know this.
Yeah. I really like kangaroo meat. Like, I used to really like kangaroo meat.
Used to
really like
one of those things where it's like kangaroo. So we touched on this. Did we touch on this last podcast, the America USA one? I think where we were like kangaroos really tasty meat, but you can't only eat kangaroo meat because it's like ridiculously high in mercury or something like that.
Kat just put a question in the chat saying, "Do you think back at eating meat like back at slavery now?" Saying it was disgusting.
I do.
We're gonna cut meat out as a society. I just feel like we're gonna, stop being so greedy and maybe 2 times a week. It'll be a treat, like Fray said. I think
we'll look back at the way we treat them. I actually wrote like an essay and then Fly answered, so that's great. Thanks, Fly. I just got to delete that all. But we actually we'll look back at the way we treat them, I think, and be like,
the treatment.
How did
definitely.
we do that? Like, what were we thinking? Like, we could have just not enjoyed meat so much and done it differently.
Any more questions, Resh?
But that's also still on that one. Is that still subject to education? Because like I didn't know enough about this to care a couple of weeks ago.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like you changed me. I was like, yeah, that's all right. Fresh will happen. We're
changed on him.
Next minute, I'm like, we're like at each other's throats. Like, hey, I'm allowed to eat meat if I want to eat meat.
Mate, is this going to be the split in the podcast? Nah.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, I'm going this way.
He's going the meat.
Come watch my podcast, Awoken, over there.
I'll just be freshly. Oh gosh. No, it was good. We're actually saying this in the break. Like we're I don't know if some people feel like we're arguing. We're creating a discourse. We don't want to argue with each other because we're all like really good mates. So it's not like we're going to be offended by what people say.
I'm never speaking to Fray again after this.
Vegan.
Sorry, just challenging.
I didn't know it was vegan until tonight. So.
Yeah, like Fly said.
I'm not vegan. I'm vegetarian.
Vegetarian with
you're really close to being vegan though. Like really close.
He tries his best.
You to be fully before.
But what's the couple of things? Is it like
what's
cheese?
your vices? Yeah, what are your vices? What do you like?
Ice cream once every few weeks.
That'd be a hard one to say.
He probably drinks a lot of beer that's got animal product in it as well.
Yeah,
what's that thing where it's like
I don't drink vegan wine or anything like that. Like there's
wine
stuff
where they
in everything.
they strain it through like fish bellies or something like that.
Yeah.
Very hard to find vegan wine. There's not, but I was surprised to find out how much animal product was in it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's interesting. I wouldn't have thought so. Once again, education important.
Yeah, I'd seriously say probably about maybe 1 in 15 bottles of wine are vegan, just from what I've discovered sellers and stuff at work.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Any more questions, Fresh?
Oh yeah, plenty. So, and we're actually kind of talking about this now. Like with limits, do you think vegans should? So Kelsey says, do you think vegans should not be able to use products made from animals, i.e., clothes, shampoo, conditioner? Hardcore vegans, sure, would definitely say yeah.
Already, vegans don't use any leathers or anything like that. You can't claim vegan and wear leather.
Kelsey, what do you mean by like made from animals? Or do you mean like tested on animals? Because you mentioned like conditioner and stuff like that.
No, like there's shampoo and stuff that's like have animal product in them. So.
Oh yeah. Well, no, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be that we ban them from using it, but like it should be that if you're a vegan, and this is like one of those weird things. This is one of those weird things where it's like if you go vegan but you don't drink vegan wine, it's such a weird concept to me. Because like you're either saying that when you say I'm vegan, you're saying I'm not okay with animal products and animals being used to produce things, but then you drink wine that is fish are killed to create that wine.
Are you saying that they're morally inconsistent, Mike?
Yes, I am saying that.
This is exactly what I was saying to your podcast.
I'm actually going to disagree with Woke in the sense that I think. Well, Fray said this before, but any change is positive, no matter what you label yourself as is.
You're right. I do agree.
No matter,
Yeah.
Even if it isn't perfect, but you're making a change. You're making a change. You're doing good things. Even if wear leather, and then 50% of the vegans say that you're not a vegan.
He's retracting his previous statement.
I'm going to retract my previous statement, and I'm going to change it to: if you're getting up on your high horse, telling me that I am doing wrong in the world because you're the vegan and you're eating vegan better than me, then you should make sure that you are the highest degree of. You should make sure you're Jesus. The vegan Jesus.
What?
Wait,
right?
As in just in vegan levels?
So if you're getting up on your high horse,
I love
to me and
Jesus.
saying bad person because you eat meat or you consume animal products, you should make sure that you're a vegan Jesus.
But isn't that similar to what I was saying before? No,
there's education, and there's talking down.
Okay,
I've been talked down to several times.
What if someone's like the worst things in the world? If someone's like a pedophile, are you allowed to talk down to them, or you say no? You just got to educate them.
Educate.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't think you're allowed to talk down to them.
Right. I mean, I don't like pedophiles.
Yeah, I disagree. I feel
I'd be okay with educating strongly to the point of talking.
To be honest.
I mean, yeah, no, educate, 100%.
Rapists.
Judge not, lest you be judged yourself. No judgment here.
There's no situation where you shouldn't tell the person why what they're doing is wrong instead of just telling them that that's not how you.
That's true. That's true. Is that the distinction of talking down then? Because I mean, I kind of thought talking down was with education. Because if you're telling someone that they're wrong in something.
No, I feel like talking down is like there's malice to it. There's malice and there's like the way I've experienced it. It's specifically targeted at me, and it makes me feel like I am the scum of the absolute earth. All right, and I don't think that's right.
No, that's true.
That's right at all.
But discourse and disagreement has to come, but that has to be from a position of being. Oh, I guess you're not saying that. You're saying it has to be if they're talking, if they're malicious towards you, then it has to be from a position of perfectness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Not if they're
coming at if they're on the attack.
Yeah.
Then they better make sure that there's nothing there that I can be like, oh wait, you drink wine?
So so if someone says that you're wrong in something, is that on the attack or no?
No, of course not.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. I think that's consistent.
And I mean, that happens all the time. Well, I think.
Yeah.
And we go, all right, cool. Thanks for sharing your opinion.
Good. Next question from Katie. Oh, wait, no, I think she's just reinforcing Kelsey's question. Where do you draw the line with that? Which I feel like we've discussed now. Sinte asked, Kelsey. Oh, wait, hold on. Everyone's reinforcing Kelsey's question. And Katie asked, how do vegans deal with spiders or rodents? Down here in Tassie at the moment, we have the worst plague of rodents ever seen. Would you just live with them or capture them and release them and hope they don't return? Rodents, Fray, where do you stand on rodents? They have a face.
Fray, you're muted.
Fray is muted again. He's got the little mute icon. What even happens? He gets that little... There he goes. He unmuted. No, he muted again.
He muted himself again.
Frey said he
and unmuted.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah, there you go.
No, you're good now. You're good now.
Yeah, I said spiders I'll always let out, and I've never had a rat because I don't really like leaving food out. So, yeah, I wouldn't catch one with I'd probably catch one with one of those traps where they don't get snapped on, the little box one where they can survive in there, and then I'll let him back out after. And just tell him, do not come back into my house, Mr. Rat.
Watch him come back in like the next day.
I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to this topic because I don't actually like rats as well as realistically a foreign species in Australia. I don't. I'm not saying I'd kill a rat, but I really just wish they weren't there.
What about cats? Was like similar?
I'm very much similar with cats. I don't really like them. I own a cat right now. Just because it was from my family, but
that's same as me. Yeah, I really dislike cats, but I own a cat because it was offered to me. It was like a rescue cat, so I was like, yeah, I take it, but I don't like cats.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cats are destroying like the native bird population, and my cat's absolutely useless and can't hunt for shit. So it's okay, but like feral cats, domesticated cats are. And as well as like dogs and foxes and rabbits are destroying the native ecosystem. And I don't really realistically have a problem with us killing rabbits, for example, doing our best to exterminate them, even if it's cruel.
So hard to find these questions because everyone's just chatting in the damn question thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next one. Kelsey says, if you suggest not eating meat, we're actually talking about this in the break as well, and then we're like, oh, we should talk about that. If you suggest not eating meat, what would a week's meal plan look like? You go first, Fray, and then.
Am I muted again?
No, you're right.
Actually, no, I'm actually all right. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty lucky in the fact that I work at a primary school, so my lunch is always taken care of. The canteen lady makes me a variety of salad sandwiches every day, so that's always good. In terms of breakfast, I'm a soy latte kind of guy with some biscuits. And then in dinner, I will either, everything can be kind of meat substitute. So I've got meat-free sausage rolls, meat-free patties, you can make burgers, meat-free mince, you can make pasta. Go out for pizza, go out to a Chinese restaurant, whatever. Pretty good.
Yeah, I've found it like, so this is my first week doing it. I found it so much easier than I thought it would be. I don't eat breakfast anyway, so then for lunch and that I just ate. Did Woke just fall out? I think Woke just dropped.
Gone.
Woke's gone. That's all right. He'll come back. Oh, now Fray's woke. Weird. I just ate.
I eat meat. I eat meat. I am a bad person.
Yikes.
He's never gonna know. He's never gonna know, guys. Flip, what was I even saying? Oh, for lunch I just ate oats because I really like oats. And then dinners was like my wife's making me these vegetarian curries, which is really good. Like, I mean, obviously there's a lot of Hindu people who are vegetarians and have been for many, many years, and they've got some sweet curries that you can get into.
Is she joining you as a vegetarian, Fresh, or are you doing it solo?
So she refuses to. She doesn't want to watch the thing because she's like, I'll then have to do it, which is funny. But I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want to push my views on her. I'll tell her why I think it's wrong, but it's up to her then. Yeah, I mean, do you want to go another question, or have we got anything else, Fly? Do you want to add into that? Is there anything that's easy?
I find it incredibly easy. I think you feel like it's going to be a lot harder than it is. It's realistically not. I eat a lot of the same food though, so people, if you do like diff things, it can become very stimulating. It's a lot of the same stuff. I eat a lot of chickpeas, a lot of beans, a lot of tofu, nuts. I'm trying to be very, very healthy because I'm very in selection of injuries.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to stay, I think, healthy as a vegan because there's just not a lot of options outside certain food groups. So you don't get the variety that you would if you were a vegetarian or a meat eater. You just don't. There's not that variety, so you do end up eating a lot of the same thing, which can be really hard for people. I think there's a lot, as time progresses, there'll be a lot more options, but it's just not.
That's true. That's true. It will just keep getting better and better. Mr. Events asked, how do you guys feel about restaurants / the idea of constant availability of meat? It's a lot of waste involved, and they'll continue to even, and there will continue to be even if people think of meat as a treat. Same thing could be said of grocery stores.
Actually is a ton of work. Like people a lot of the time will only like half their meal, then just throw the rest in the bin. Like that's pretty common.
Yeah.
Or like scrape it off. People do it all the time. So I feel like there's a lot of meat wasted in any restaurant. Even like Macca's is fast food. It's a ton of meat wasted.
Comes back to a little bit like what we do in our business practices because we're all about the efficiency, all about the cost reduction, mass production. It's just it's how it's gonna be, I guess, unless companies decide to value ethics over money, which seems like it could be pretty far away, in my opinion.
It's never gonna happen realistically, is it?
No, hopefully that. I guess it has to be legislated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I've said. Sorry, I'm on a different mic now, just so you guys know. I think.
Oh my gosh! Hey, is there a way you
Have
can
you
go
gone
back to your
back
other
to
one? Because that's
1910?
disgusting. Yeah.
Is it so bad?
It's so bad. What happened?
Nah.
He's
I don't know.
understandable.
Literally, my internet has completely.
Oh,
And
okay.
World War One is about to commence next week.
Hi, I'm here, everybody. Hi.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Alright.
sorry. So I'm actually speaking through these at the moment. This like Bluetooth headset. Is it so bad? I cannot talk for the rest of the podcast. Wait, how bad is it?
I mean, talk, but don't talk much.
Okay, all right. I'll get another option. Give me.
Okay, use your phone mic, dude. It's gonna be better.
That's terrible.
Fraser
Go to
his
headset
phone
with a
mic.
microphone. Surely. Get that one.
He does have a headset with a microphone, but surely, yeah, way better. Go, phone mic.
Okay, cool. Sorry. I guess
Lawless is disconnected, so this is all going perfectly, incredibly smooth.
completely, 100%. Sorry, I can't remember what we're talking about now.
Okay, we'll go. I guess we'll go into Should we go into the
Next question.
Next question.
Wait. We're talking about the government, and I was like, yeah, I think that the market has had enough time now to be like, okay, look, this is where we're going, and it's not going there. So I think that government regulation is what we need.
It's very hard to get government regulation though when incredibly small communities which are based in farming realistically choose a representative that is inclined to help them increase profits. Incredibly hard to create resolution and then even enforce.
If the government wanted to, they could easily whack on a meat tax like they've done with the sugar tax and the cigarette tax. And then all of a sudden that would also slowly reduce demand.
It meets the same as sugar did the sugar because the amount that because of Medicare and free healthcare, we spend so much treating people with avoidable illnesses due to obesity, which is related to sugar and meat. The amount of money that we spend on that is insane. We could be spending that anywhere else. Incredible.
Yep. All right. Next question.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got Mamo saying if this is a really interesting question, the way he's phrased it as well. It implies a lot. Animals weren't put on Earth to eat. Why were animals put on Earth?
Why were we put on Earth anyway? To eat?
Yeah. What's the purpose of
to
life,
do the
Mamo?
eating?
Why are we here, Mamo?
That question assumes God, right?
Yeah. Well, the way he's phrased it, yes.
Yeah, it assumes that God put us here.
Yeah.
And in which case, yeah, I kind of agree with him, but I don't necessarily agree that animals were put here.
Well, I think we were all put. We were, like, the putting here is a loose term, but we were put here. And a bit of a mistake, to be honest. We have evolved so much further than any else has. Practically, destroyed any, realist like circle. The ecosystem is supposed to around. We've just disrupted everything.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, I don't think many people would argue that animals were put here to be tortured or in pain.
Yeah,
Definitely.
We've had such a negative,
Wake up, ego cat. No dozing off.
Ego cat with the great questions. Yeah, and like, well, I mean, if we have to try and, it's very hard to look at the purpose of why things are on Earth. That's a question that people have been asking for many years.
That was for the spiritual topic, not this one.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely. All right, well, we're at 2.5 hours. We've hit all the questions in chat. Do we want to give maybe a brief summation of what our thoughts are leaving this?
Yeah. There's one more question.
One more question? Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so I just snuck one in there. Last one. If you lower the demand for meat, then won't that divide rural and city living, as in rural places could have their own animals for meat and city people wouldn't be able to eat the meat? Would that be fair? So if you're saying, right?
So this was something that I put to a vegan that I had a conversation with one time, where I was like, okay, so what if I buy a little bit of land and I produce my own, like I have my own like little cow farm, I treat them humanely, I kill my own meat, I eat my own meat, would you be okay with it? And he was like, yes, in terms of like the animal cruelty side, no in terms of the environmental impact, because if every single person decided to do that, then it's still not sustainable.
Interesting. Yeah.
Really good point.
I also think like the fair part of the question's not really like there's plenty of people who don't have meat in the world, but we don't try and distribute meat to them because it's like not fair on them. Well, there's plenty of malnourished people in the world, right? And some of us try and distribute meat, food to them or funding, but we're not like, we don't seem as a society overly concerned about that.
Equality versus equity as well, and we ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time.
Nobody got time for that. Yeah, but it's like with an increasing population, because animal farming takes up so much more land and resources than a carrot does. It's really hard to morally say that we should still be eating animals.
4Ks, where are you pulling these facts? 1 acre is used per cow, 3 acres are used for a vegan. Like, where are you pulling this information from?
That's actually wrong, because
it's very wrong.
Yeah, I definitely not
wrong.
that.
Meat uses 18 times more land than a vegan diet.
I was about to say it's tons, because you got to feed a cow as well.
Yeah,
and cows will eat 3 times as much as you and me.
Actually, around Queensland lately, there's been like 2 farms set up that are just like university experiments. Like they're actually just like they're setting up like one of them's cows. I don't know what the other one is. They might be like lamb or something, but they like set it up just so like uni students can see what it's like, kind of thing, instead of having to go to one that's already there. It's really weird.
That's interesting.
There's like one near Warwick. Yeah, it's really odd.
Man, it's so weird that we both have a suburb called Warwick.
Yeah,
it's actually
on
so
different
annoying.
sides of
Every
Australia.
time he says Warwick, I'm like,
what?
what?
He knows where we live.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right, summation
Why is that a bad thing?
Sorry?
Oh, toxic. Why is me knowing where you live a bad thing? That's toxic.
Oh, mate, we're gonna meet up at PAX. It's fine.
Doxing.
Doxing.
Oh, no. Doxing. We're all going to dock together.
Dox.
Active hate.
Yeah. PAX hype, guys. Prof's coming. Fly's coming. Fray and Woke, you should be there. Lawless is coming.
Me and Woke are gonna spoon.
Mate, I can't wait for that. Please.
All right, let's go through. Everyone, give a brief summary of what you've learned today, ladies and gentlemen. Starting with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What? I guess I don't know. Maybe like about vegan diets and stuff, and kind of like where they stand with abuse kind of thing. I don't know, with like the dietary, everything, it just seems so odd. I feel like I need to look into it a lot more before I would give it a try. That's about it. I haven't really learnt much else.
Cool. Fair enough.
What is Fly doing?
He looks like a weeb sex fetishist. I'm like pissing myself laughing.
I know the same thing made me laugh as well.
Sex space to look
With a
like.
catsuit.
Oh my gosh, that's what you're laughing about.
It's like
All right. My summary is that I think that your reduction of your consumption of animal products is a great goal to aim for. I don't think you should hold yourself to some ridiculously high standard. I think you should just do what you feel like you can do. However, at the same time, I think trying to better yourself in that area is a good thing for the environment and for your social responsibility of the human race.
Mm.
Yeah. That's where
Fray
I'm
and Fly.
standing.
I have had a lovely evening sinking some beers with some good lads. No one's changed their opinion. No one's been asked to. I think everyone presents their own point of view and their own moral compass. And so long as you're comfortable with the choices you make in your life, then that's all that I can ask.
In other words, he hates me. He hates me.
I love you. I love you.
You should have
sexy
seen
man.
what happened when you dipped out of the call. He became you in the thing, and he was like,
"Oh, really?
I eat
like,
meat. I'm a bad
camera
human
moved
being. I'm the worst person." No, not really, not like that, but it was pretty close.
Damn, I
A little
can't
bit
wait
like
to
that.
watch that back. I can't wait to watch that. That's gonna be great.
Yeah. And Fly.
I think it's really good for me because I've obviously grown up in an environment where it's just been very, I grew up as a vegan, so it's really good for me to hear in detail other people's opinions, especially Woke's, because he's different from mine, I guess. And no lack of respect to him, more power to him. But
Wait,
I think it's really good, just because this is like we were talking about, have a conversation about educating each other, then yelling at each other, telling how each other how to live instead of telling, should live, educate them. Point. It's been really good.
Yeah, it's been good.
True. And I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed discussing the topic. In research, like it's literally just because I did enough research for this topic that I was like, wow, crap, I need to become a vegetarian now. So that was what changed for me in the last couple of weeks. And my reasoning would be that it was morally inconsistent for me to be not okay with abusing animals around me that I can see, but okay with abusing animals for enjoyment of meat that I can't see. That's where I stand.
Cool. Alrighty. Wow. Thanks for coming and chatting, guys. I guess there's just one thing we need to resolve.
Oh, the beer review.
Beer
review. Completely forgot about the beer. It's like a little Easter egg at the end.
Half cut review.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think I'm actually going to go first. So so I'm drinking the Other Side Anthem Indian Pale Ale. Bit bright, but hopefully you guys can all see that in reverse. It's so so it's out of 2 appearance. So I mean the bottle, like it's got an interesting artwork, so it's got a little bit of a balloon in the background. I like the red color, but it's nothing special. The appearance of the marketing, like it's not like, it didn't jump out at me. The only reason it really caught my eye was because someone I know suggested it to me. So in terms of the marketing side of thing, it's a 1. I did pour it into a glass before, but I drank it. It looked like an Indian Pale Ale. So I'm going to give it a 1 out of 2 for appearance. For taste, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Is it out of 10? Yep, 6 out of 10. It was nice. I enjoyed it, but was it incredible? Was it something that I was like, oh my goodness, like this is amazing. I'm really enjoying what I'm drinking right now. No, it was just drinkable, like I could drink it, but like it wasn't incredible, the taste. So I'm going for a 6 out of 10 for taste. In terms of drinkability, I'm going to give it an 8. So I could drink this all night easily. It's kind of like, it's an IPA, but it's not like ridiculously hoppy. So it's not like you kind of get like overpowered by the amount of hops it's got. You're not like sitting there going like, oh my goodness, I'm so weighed down by this. Give me a lager. Someone bring me a lager, It's kind of like, it's just very mellow, very consistent. I could drink it all night easily. So what was that? That was a 1, it was a 6, a 7 plus an 8. So 15 out of 20 for me. Other side, Anthem, Indian Pale Ale. That's me done.
And you're back. Wait, hold on. You're back on your computer now, Wake?
Yeah, just randomly.
Yeah, what happened to Law? Is Law gone? Law's gone.
Law doesn't drink beer, so he's rating his chocolate milk a 1 on appearance.
But did he just dip out? I think he's out of the call.
I mean,
he was disconnected before, so he might have just disconnected.
Oh, okay. Can you reconnect if you can, Law, just so the things work out better? But yeah, if you can. All right, go. Flies next. Go.
I drank, I think, 6 different beers during this thing. So I think, do I choose my favorite? I'm going to choose 2. I'm going to be that guy. So I'm going to start with the Juicy Enigma from 3 Ravens. It's fantastic. The can looks great. The beer itself was like a really golden color. Tasted great. It was incredibly fruity. Probably not something I drink during the winter. But definitely something during the summer. It was light. It was fruity. I'd give it, what is it? Looks. I'd give it a 2.
2 out of 2, yeah.
2 out of 2. I'd give it definitely 2 out of 2. I think drinkability was a 10.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Ooh.
They're like $12 a can, so it's not like a drink.
$12 a can, you baller.
Whoa.
No, I get these. Because I do the specials at work, they just send me these to taste, so I don't actually have to pay anything for it. But it tasted incredible, and it was incredibly drinkable. I'd say probably like an 8 on taste.
Wow,
probably an 8 on taste. And the second one I'm going to do is the Dark Side of Orange Cherry Chocolate Nut Brown. I'd say taste is if I could give it an 11, I would. And I'm going to give 2 out of 2 looks, but I'm going to give it like a 2 out of 10 on drinkability because it's incredibly heavy.
I have no idea how to write down Fly's ratings now. He's just got so many beers going. I'm
I'm doing like there's Sierra Nevada, there's like East Hope, lot there.
I'm just gonna say Fly loves his beers.
I love my beer.
Go, sorry, keep going. I love it. It's good.
No, but it's incredibly dark. It's got hints of chocolate. It's incredibly thick as well. It's not something you drink during summer. It's definitely a beer to have in cold weather. It is a stout. It says brown ale, but it's practically a stout. It's fantastic, but definitely 2 out of 10. I could not drink more than 2 a day.
What was the name of it again?
You can't buy it anywhere, but
wait, sorry, you can't buy it anywhere?
No, so I went to a
exclusive.
It was like the beer expo in Sydney, and everyone makes like a bunch of companies make a beer to put in it's like a limited edition, and whoever makes the best beer wins the prize. And I bought like 5 cases of this because it was so good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Nice.
Incredible. Yeah, it tastes incredible. It's probably the best beer I've ever had, but I can never drink it in a sitting. Whoa. It's awesome.
Damn.
Wow. Pretty cool.
And Fray?
I had the Cricketer's Arms for appearance. I'm giving it a 2 because I actually really like the logo. I like the font, and I like that it looks like a cricket team. It's got the stumps and it's got the palm tree.
Plus, we won the Ashes.
Morally consistent.
We haven't won the Ashes. We won the first test, but
we're gonna win the Ashes. Don't worry.
In terms of what was the other one? Taste.
Taste is out of 10.
Taste. It's just a normal beer, to be honest. It wasn't amazing.
Okay.
6.
6 out of 10.
The first one was good. The 6th one was kind of just. What was the next one?
Drinkability. How much would you buy a carton? Could you drink them all night?
I've got a carton, and I've already gone through 6. I might have another one, a couple before bed. So we'll go
10
10 out of 10.
Yeah. That's out of 8, but that's fine. We'll give you an 8 out of the 8.
10 out of 8.
Got a very specific rating system here. It's gone through the motions. So I had the once again pick the green beer, so you can hardly see it, but it's a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I'm going appearance. I'll give it. I like the what do you call it? The flip. The bottle is really, really nice. You can't really see it though. It's like got a really nice logo, really nice little forest river atmosphere. But then I poured it out and it's really dark, like compared to most other pale ales that are, well, maybe like Hop Hog or something isn't that dark, which kind of threw me off. So I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10 for the appearance. Taste is as far as pale ales go, this might be one of my favorites. It's very good, but I'm more of an IPA guy, definitely, and I feel like I need to just go with the IPAs for this review. So when I stray away from there, it gets less. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for the taste. And a drinkability, I'll give it a. It's pretty heavy for a pale ale. Like it's quite dark, pretty heavy. So I'll give it a 5 out of 8 for drinkability. What's that? I don't even know. 5 plus. I can't remember anymore what I did.
I can't do maths.
We'll go back and add it up. But we've done the beer review, ladies and gentlemen. Fray, Law, thanks so much for being here, guys, and chat, obviously.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to give a Fray? I know Fray and Law definitely give a shout out to you. I don't know if Law's still here, but give a shout out to your channel. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Fresh Plays Live in chat, being an absolute menace.
Menace. Women beware.
He's...
in the best of ways.
Women and men.
Women and men.
Just beware.
I'm your only man, honestly.
Yeah, man.
It's true. Fly's his man. Law, how about you?
I don't stream very often at all, but I'm like best non-claw controller player OCE. So you know.
Oh, you heard it here first.
This is true. This is
It's
true.
a big call.
Love it. Cool.
Good.
And Fly, you don't stream,
Doesn't
do you?
stream.
I don't stream and I have 0 socials, so don't look for me.
It's true. I was trying to tag you on Twitter.
Don't at me, bro. Don't at me.
Don't at me, fam.
And did the stream work on yours this time? Is it good?
Yeah. Worked
sweet.
fine. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened after
After the internet died, yeah.
the internet died.
No, actually, you'll still be pushing to your channel, so it's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, surely, because
Yeah.
it was from your
from mine.
internet.
Yeah, sweet.
Cheeky.
Dual stream, ladies and gentlemen. Well, guys, thanks for all being here on the podcast. It's been a lovely few hours. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Catch the VOD on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, like literally every podcast medium has this. Thanks so much. Catch you all soon.
Yeah.
Peace.
See you later, guys. Peace out.
Love y'all.